You are muted. We can't hear you.
Give me is already. So let's see what I'm through. Wow, adjustment on our screen.
Okay. Now,
So
now you, now
pick
you,
up.
now you are okay.
Let's welcome event. Welcome again. Welcome to the of the week with argument. Welcome to True FB.
Good evening, gentlemen. How's Monrovia today?
Yes, yeah, we try to set that and you too a little clear, but let me. So what I for it. Yeah, let's see yeah what are some adjustment on the screen. Uh, give you a bigger picture on the shows. But if you're telling me, say welcome again.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, so thanks. Welcome to another edition of Closing Argument. Today is Monday, uh, the first day of the show, the first working day of Closing Argument. Yeah, the Monday edition. Good to have you on after a very long week.
You talking to us, Hansu?
Yeah, we're trying to, yeah, we're getting some feedback to make it to adjustment. But if you guys get, yeah, you can forward.
You getting our feedback from us?
Though from my end,
Okay. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the closing argument. My name is Grace Guar, and if you are on the show tonight, you want to share the show, please, to the different rooms in the messenger and also on different platforms on Facebook. You want to give other people a chance to be able to watch us and get some information. Tonight, this show is going to be very brilliant. There's a lot of information that will be given here tonight, and a lot of things that are going on in Liberia concerning human rights and everything. So please share the show for us and brace yourself because we are on for a ride. And I would like to say hi to everybody on Facebook and also on YouTube and the audience that are listening in Liberia. I'd like to say hello to Ansu and the rest of the guys in the studio. Today is Monday, March 31st. Tomorrow is April 1st, so don't forget because somebody will fool you. Be prepared for that. So I'm reminding you now so you can remember because someone they can be very corny. But it's nice to be here. I see Mr. Jerome Gaiman is on here, and I would like to welcome him, Mr. Gaiman.
Yeah, thank you for the admonishment. If someone calls you tomorrow and tells you that there will be no closing argument tomorrow, don't believe them. It's April Fool. We will be here tomorrow bringing you events, current event in Liberia. We'll bring you events around the world. As usual, if it's on closing argument, you can count on it. It's legitimate, it's authentic, and this is a show where they can take you to task. We take each other to task, but when it comes to the show, it is reliable. Information are searched, researched, double-checked. If Ms. Grace tells you that according to her sources are usually reliable. So when she tells you, according to my sources, 99.9% of the time, she's on point. Same thing with Chief George Tomalin and everybody else on here. This is not where you just come and peddle gossip. It will be double-checked, rechecked. So yes, if you are on the closing argument, after you have gone around and listened to all the gossip, this is where you come to close it. With facts, with intellect, integrity. That's why I chose to come on here, because this is where I bring my closing argument. Thank you very much for bringing me, and thank you very much for allowing me to be on your platform, Grace.
Thank you for being Mr. Gaiman. This is your platform as well. You've been coming on for a minute, so we can now say that you're part of us. So this is your platform. This is also the Liberian People platform. Here we are free to speak our minds, and we are free to, say what is going on. We as Mr. Gaiman said, we just need factual information, and we can share with one another. You make your comments. I usually would not read the comment. Once in a while we read it, but it's important, you make your comment, feel free. We know that some of you be cussing us and all of that, but it's okay. to make a change anywhere, we know that we have to go through a lot everywhere. So we understand your frustration. Sometimes we say things that you don't agree with us, but it's our opinion, because everybody have the right to their opinion, and they have the right to also speak it. So if I speak my opinion here, you have the right to debunk my opinion, but you don't have the right to insult me. But if you think you should insult me, it left for you. You can go on running with the insults, but it's okay. But we'd like to welcome everybody. Continue to share the show for us. I would like to ask Mr. Gaiman, with everything that's going on in Liberia today, what is on your mind?
Well, first of all, I want to be very thankful to God for allowing those that were on that flight to Liberia, where the airport went dark. I just came from Liberia. I cannot imagine a plane full of folks approaching landing, and the entire airport is dark. I don't know how I would feel being on that flight, especially when I flew 9 hours from DC, from Dulles International Airport to Accra, and then connecting from Accra to Monrovia. After a lengthy flight, to be on a flight, and your final destination is unknown. Airport is dark. I can just imagine the prayers that were going on when the pilot said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have no guardian, no radar, no light." It has to be gut-wrenching. So that's what on my mind. Just came from the country. I just, there are a lot of folks who got flight. We're talking about fear of flight, especially being in the air 9 hours from Dulles International to Accra. 9 hours in the air. And then upon landing, someone tells you, we don't know, the airport is dark. There is no light. I remember vividly, I was not in Liberia, but my uncle Tom, you told me this. The former police chief, I think his name was Joe Tate. Joe Tate and his entire entourage lost their lives because there was no light at the airport. And they were trying to land either by light of different cars, and everybody lost their lives. And then when you hear an international airport, the gateway to the nation, scary. So there's a lot on my mind, but this particular one, it has everything to do with national security, it has everything to do with personal security. If your relatives were on that flight, we all want to say thank you to God for making their landing safe. I listened to a lady, she said she left, she was just glad to see her daughter.
Wow.
She left, they left their luggages and everything, they left it there and took off because it was so dark. She was just glad to just hug her daughter, take her out of there. And they took off. They didn't care what happened to all the luggages. That's the trauma we are talking about. Thank you.
Yeah. I know it was kind of very scary, but again, I would say that we are broadcasting also in Liberia on air in most of the countries. Hearing us tonight. I would also like to continue to thank you guys for being here. Share the show for us. It's important that you do that so that information shared here will be able to get across to other people and all of that. But this is what is on my mind before I welcome Mr. Langley. Today I saw a very disturbing video, and on that video was the president Miss Liberia. She went to a country, I think it was Korea, to go and represent Liberia. And in her representation, she went on stage and she said that she was going to sing the national anthem. And when she got on stage, I don't know whether she got nervous. She began to sing. When she said, "Okay, I will sing the national anthem for you," I will sing. I think she said her voice or something. And she started singing, "I pledge allegiance to the land, with all my heart, with all I am." It's a beautiful song, but it was not the national anthem. So she misrepresented Liberia in that fact, which sometimes it happens when you get nervous. Things like that happen to you, and maybe you say that you want to sing one thing and then something else come out of your mouth. We understand that. Most people would not understand that, because people sat in our audience and they knew the national anthem of Liberia. The people were different people around the world. So it was a poor representation. That's why when you go into those kind of things, you just can't go, especially when you are representing a country. Even me representing myself, I don't just come to anywhere to talk and just say anything I want to say. I usually give speeches around here. People call me to the programs to speak. I go there from the Liberian program. I go and speak. I make sure I prepare myself. They call something called preparedness. You prepare yourself, especially when you sit in a certain category. You prepare yourself and go over your stuff. Make sure you are fully prepared, and take that anxiety away from you. Because when you prepare for anything, your anxiety goes away. Once you are prepared, even for a test, you study very well. You go to the test, your anxiety go away because the people that are coming, you know what you're doing in that paper. So for you to represent a country, an entire country, you have to be prepared. You have to have people around you to prepare you and everything. So she blundered. I said that to say that she blundered. She went there. She said she was going to sing the national anthem. She blundered, and she started singing a gospel song, which I love so much, and it became like a laughing thing among the Liberians. People started posting it, with a mistake and everything. I felt that she did well in the tune. She did good, but just that she sang the wrong song. So I think I watched a quick 3 minutes video, or maybe less than that, where she approached this girl and she said the girl had shared the video of her singing the wrong song, I think on her Facebook page or something. The girl shared it. And so she started asking the girl why the girl shared. I think the girl was trying to explain to her that other people are sharing this. I have the right to share something. Before the girl could really the argument was going back and forth, and she slapped the girl in her face like a child, right in the public space. Even if it was done behind the public space, it's wrong. But then for you to do it in the public and you call yourself Miss Liberia, and we will not continue to let our country be mediocre to the world. So in this time, cameras are all what they have to be very careful how you interact with people. So when she did that, that was just too much. And so, you know, people, this girl carried herself very well. After she slapped the girl never attacked her back, because let me tell you, if somebody slapped you like that, the first instinct is to, you know, react. But the girl was able to comport herself. That's why I even feel that that girl who was able to comport herself was supposed to be the Miss Liberia. The girl was supposed to the girl was able to comport herself, and I think the girl reported her to the police for assault. And I wrote on my Facebook page, I said, women are already going through too much in this world that we live in. Even to bear a child, women are not dying still in Liberia from childbirth. Women that this C-section in Liberia, some of them still cannot get healed from that C-section they did to deliver that child. They bias against women. Just in the 80s, before women in America, you could even open a business bank account in their name. In the 80s, before this great country started accept women to open business bank account in their name, they had to carry a man to be with them to open a business account. We've been through all of that. When will we come to the state where we have to support one another, regardless of if we were insulted or if we were bullied at? You know, the power you want to get into somebody's personal space and attack them with a slap. You know, you took away something when you did that. So we see that it's wrong. And I said, women already going through too much in this world for a woman with a title of Miss Liberia to slap another woman in a public space is demeaning and it constitutes abuse. She should be stripped of her title as Miss Liberia. We cannot refer to that kind of person as a queen. You cannot be a queen. Queens carry themselves very well. You have the ability to be able to compose yourself, to comport yourself, to restrain yourself. You have the ability to do that. So women should carry themselves with respect and control. You cannot, your emotions should be expressed in your words. That's what we have words for. Not with insult, but with words that you will express yourself to tell people, look, what you're doing is wrong. I will not stand for this. I will have to remove myself from this space. That's how women carry themselves. But for you, even if you're going through emotions, because we all go through it, we are humans. People do things, you get mad, you go through emotions. But how you come back from there, that's what matters. So therefore, I disagree, because she was going through emotions. She slapped again. She had no right to do that. There was a public thing that was spread. Even if it was not public, she has no right to do that. She slapped again. So physical abuse is one of the things I really don't like. I do not like physical abuse. I don't like people to touch people because it's not good. Sometimes those things live with you forever. People think it's that easy. It's a trauma thing, you know. So she was totally wrong. And for you to be called Miss Liberia, you have to have a certain criteria. You have to be a modest woman. A modest woman in that you can restrain yourself. The kind of clothes that you wear, your behavior, how you speak to other people, how you interact with them. You know, you can have a strong voice and still be a modest woman. You know, and you could have spoken to that guy and say, you know what you did with me was wrong. I made a mistake. I don't think I should be my pleasure should be shared. You guys should bully me. But if you think you should do that, then you do it. That alone is a guilt or a trap you already put in. But for you to slap her, we cannot have people like that representing Liberia in the world. So we are calling on whosoever responsible for the Miss Liberia or titles, they should start getting in meeting now. That woman's title should be stripped of her. She's not worth to be called Miss Liberia because she don't have the criteria, the modest woman criteria to carry herself in a modest way. So we cannot have people like that representing our country. That is what is on my mind. So I would like to welcome Mr. J. Victor Nangwe. I have to express that. I know I took a little bit of a while, but I will have to recognize Mr. Victor Nangwe and also Sarah's Garguah for being on the show. You know, Sarah's the last time I couldn't even see your last name, so it was, but now I can see it clear. So I would like to welcome you guys to the show. Right now we are on What is on Your Mind. So I would like Victor to come in and tell us what is on his mind. When you're done, then Sarah's can come with everything that's happening in Liberia. What is on your mind?
Hey, Grace. Hey, Sarah. It's good to be here. Jerome, stop hiding the back. Come back on screen. It's not April Fool's yet, but it's going to be here. Listen, I will come to what's in my mind, but I have to really, speak a little bit about what you're talking about. And, what makes this thing so bad on almost all fronts is, first of all, she has attained a stage in Liberia, where she is a model now. She should be helping out, trying to bring up, other Liberian ladies, girls who may not be as fortunate as she is. To have done that, I think is reprehensible. Then there's the whole conduct. You say, she was overseas. I'm not sure whether it was in Korea or Thailand, but yeah, you know, she what she sang was not the anthem. It happens, like you said, Grace. Sometimes you get on stage, yeah, I always myself, my wife will tell you, we tell ourselves, even if you jot down little bullets to guide you, because it's very easy to run out of steam on stage, and then you start fumbling trying to make up. So it is always good to be guided. It helps. And there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. It happens too. I mean, we remember here, I think it was 2003. Maurice Cheeks was one time Sixers coach. He became the coach of the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, he had to come to the aid of a girl, Natalie, I believe she was 13 years old at the time. She herself, she got on stage, and I'm sure this is something she has been singing over and over, but she forgot her words. He had to come into it. So it happens. I think you're right. She had just been gracious enough to say, you know what, because I think there are a lot of people now who are mocking her on social media. So I can understand she's getting upset. But getting upset is not the way to go, because then you're just giving it too much power over you. Self-deprecation is really very, very edifying. You can say, yeah, my people, I went there and I messed up, but you'll help me next time when I'm going. Let me make it happen. Find something out of it. But the way she's taking it, even though lately I read somewhere, I think she's very remorseful now, or so. I think she's planning to do a public apology. So that is that. Then there is the whole probability of her even coming on a severe, penalty, probably losing her title, whatever she won. So it's a whole lot. She just really didn't exercise, self-restraint. But anyway, yeah, what is on my mind?
Yeah, but like, before you listen, before you say what is on your mind, I know they said she apologized. I was there on the apology video, and she was reading from a paper.
Okay.
For you to apologize for such a thing, you have to be sincere from your heart. Apology doesn't take a piece of paper. If I do something here, I erred, and I have to come and say, Mr. Nambe, I am very sorry I erred. This is a public space. I would tell you that, I didn't know. I just snapped. Things happen like that. But I'm sorry. You see the sincerity, but you have to read a paper to apologize. It's not a proper apology. Now, apology doesn't even cut it for this. We understand you apologize. Like when people accept the apology, but you cannot keep the crown. That's just it. We have to set a standard, and we have to set an example on people to show that this country is moving forward in a serious manner. We cannot afford for these kind of mistakes. So that's why I just had to say thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you as well. So I was going to come to the list of candidates that have been, cleared by elections commissions. This is so in the pre-qualifying stage, right? I think they were able to flag, Opa, Justin, Prophet Key, right? But now it appears they may have missed two other candidates qualifying, and going through. And now the MDR is registering a concern and ordering an investigation of Mr. Fangalo, I believe it is, and Ms. Gongloe. And it looks like they might have, something. Apparently, Mr. Fangalo ran, and Neg is supposed to know this, because they certified this man if he did run in the last elections in Matsurato. So the records are there. They should know that. and yet he was qualified, and also they're alleging that this Gongloe may have registered by proxy. So it is just really concerning because I am one of those who believe they're really trying and doing their best, especially the way they conducted, this gun elections, especially the runoff with all of the news we're getting of the pressure that was being mounted on them, and yet they stiffen their spines and deliver to us what we believe to have been the right process and the right result. So I'm just a little concerned. I hope all of this will not mar, the end result of what is turning out to be a very, very competitive process. A lot of people are watching. I hope they sort it out quickly enough so that it doesn't, leave a blemish on, what seems to be an otherwise pretty professionally done election over the last rounds. So that's on my mind for now.
Yeah, I think that would be a discussion on the platform today with this whole election thing. It's very important for us to be able to speak about that, because if that is the case, then it's wrong. But I think it will be a discussion tonight. I think Tomalin has it on his agenda. So we'll go to Mr. Garguah for him to tell us what is on his mind.
Well, thank you, Madam Grace. Let me say hi to all of you. It's good to be back. I think basically I have two things on my mind, and one of which has to do with the barbaric action of the Miss Liberia. Her action demonstrated no civilized behavior. She acted very rudely, and I think it's embarrassing. When I witnessed that, I was so embarrassed. I got emotional. In fact, the manner and form she approached the girl, it was irritating. And that's how power treats people in Liberia. When people are given little power in Liberia, they use it against their fellow human, which is something very wrong. I thought a Miss Liberia should be somebody who has charisma, somebody who has respect for humanity and all of that, but she appears arrogant. She sees herself like God, and that people should serve her, something which is wrong. And I think the appropriate people should take necessary action so as to make her believe that human, no matter who we are, no matter what position you hold in the society, we are equal before God. And what would have happened if that girl has had either of her friends or close relatives around? Because for me, I don't think I can stand that kind of attention to be somewhere for somebody to treat my sister like that. Those are things that can move people into violence. I felt so bad when I witnessed it today. It's embarrassing. I think the next thing is about the election process. Um, I'm seeing some stuff on Facebook. There are guys making claim that Madam Gongloe did not go through the registration process legally as it should be. And I think with one one of the candidates so far, I think they actually have legal point. Their point is legal because on the issue of domicile, I think I raised this on the provocative stuff the other day. One contested in Monserrado, district number 3, in the 2023 election, and then but then he had different name, and he suddenly switched to Nimba to contest in the by-election, changing the real name he used in Monserrado. I think it raises alarm, it raises eyebrow. He should be investigated, because he can't deny that he contested. And when people raise the issue of domicile, I think that our law provides it should be 10 years. You must have resided in a place for 10 years, the opposite applies to him. So I think they have a genuine claim against him, but for Madam Edith, I can't really speak to it because their claim has to do with Mercy Gongloe, and others are saying the picture that was being used belongs to her sister. But when I look at Ekinle, her sister, and Edith, I don't think they have resentment. They both of them are blacks, but they don't have that resentment. I look at it for a very long while. I'm still not convinced. Maybe NEC will be the one to do further investigation to establish whether or not the claim is legal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dankwa. Thank you so much. So we all have discussed everything that's on our minds. We will start with the first topic, although everything that's on our minds today has to be discussing fullness, except for the Miss Liberia saga, what happened for the Miss Liberia. We already discussed it in detail, so maybe we'll skip that. But I wanted to start with us the shortage at the power shortage at the Garguah International Airport. That was so scary for me. I couldn't imagine myself being in that flight when that happened. But I wanted to, I don't know if you guys read it, but yeah, I want to start with Mr. Gimmy, you brought it up. But I want you to, elaborate a little bit more. I know I saw in the newspapers and stuff like that what really went wrong. And if there was any interview with the people that came from that flight, I know some of them were very traumatized. Whether they were going on vacation, your whole vacation would just fall because you would just be thinking about what you experienced, at the airport where the plane had to, turn around and with what happened in Liberia. Why is it that this government still cannot get it right? Electricity is important in any society. When God created the world, He said that when he was giving all the things He was creating, everything, He said, "Let there be light." It's in the Bible, and there was light, and the light took over the darkness. We need light in anything that we do. Darkness will come. That's the time we're supposed to sleep. But for anything to function anywhere, in any way, we have to have light. For this time in Liberia, where the war has been over 20 years, and also 3 governments had already been into place, and still these people cannot get this electricity right. When the neighboring country got 24-hour current and water running, we still don't understand why is that we're going through this. There's a witchcraft situation, or the people decided not to. Seriously, or they decided not to just give the people like to keep the people in darkness, in their minds in darkness, so they can continue to do what they're doing to the country. I don't get it. So, Mr. Gimme, you can come in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Take care how you talk about darkness and people now. Those are all from Harvard. They will soon start talking about your business. So
this is the official statement from the Port Authority, and it's their press release, and it says, "Thus, I want to be like Prophet Key, thus," and hopefully I can read like him. It says, "For immediate release, Liberia Airport Authority issued statement on power interruption at the airport, Rabat International Airport, RRA. Monrovia, Liberia, March 30th, 2025. The Liberia Airport Authority, LAA, wishes to inform the public that an electrical issue stemming from the Liberian Electricity Corporation, LEC, power grid had caused a temporary disruption to the power station system at Rabat International Airport. This incident which occurred on the evening of Sunday, March 30th, at approximately 5:00 p.m., had led to certain operational challenges affecting terminal activities. The LAA deeply regrets any inconvenience they may have caused to passengers, staff, and other stakeholders, and we sincerely apologize for the temporary disruption to the normal airport operations. We want to reassure the public that our team is working closely with LEC technicians to restore full power as swiftly as safely as possible. Efforts to address and resolve the situation are currently underway. We understand the importance of reliable service at RIA and are fully committed to ensuring that this issue is resolved promptly. While we continue to manage the situation, we kindly urge the passengers and visitors to remain calm as we are taking all necessary measures to minimize any disruption and ensure the operation returns to normal. The Liberian Airport Authority appreciate your understanding and cooperation during these times and will provide further updates as necessary. For more information or inquiry, please contact the Liberia Airport Authority's Public Relations Office. Thank you for the continued trust and support. Then it tells you a little bit about the authorities, about Liberia Airport Authority. The Liberia Airport Authority is the regulatory body responsible for managing and overseeing the operations of airports in Liberia. Our mission is to ensure efficient, safe, and high-quality airport services to facilitate the growth and development of air transport and travel in Liberia. And then it's signed by the Public Relations Office of Liberia Airport Authority. That is the response from the from I guess LAA. They are saying it is not their fault. Basically, it is LEC's fault that they don't have light. But a little over a year ago, we saw this fanfare at the airport where Joseph Boyka, President Boyka, and his entourage from Ghana, from everywhere else, with something they call 3 industrial generators that would alleviate the problem from the Georgia administration, which was constant disruption or the lack of electricity at the airport. And we had this huge fanfare, groundbreaking, ribbon cutting. And for them today to say it is not their fault, it is LEC. The question is, Grace, what happened to the 3 industrial generators that were meant exclusively to keep this airport afloat in the absence of disruption? What happened? That is the question. This is where we are. This is the press release from the airport. Others see this as kicking the can down the road and not taking responsibility. When you talk about transparency and accountability, these people are running far away from it as far as they can go. So this is it, Mrs. Guar. This is it.
Yeah, just imagine the way the people ran serious propaganda for the last 6 years for this thing to be happening in the government. It's just so, I mean, you can't just grasp it. If this are happening in the Georgia government, can you imagine people like Eugene Falcon and a small propaganda that were going to be on their Facebook talking? How is it that there is no standby at the international airports of the country? Where is the standby that's supposed to be in seconds as soon as I like go and kick it off like that? People's lives were threatened, you know. If I don't want to be on that flight. I'm not claiming that flight at all, but I could have sued them, yeah, for trauma. So if you hear me, you're on that flight, go get your bread, Mr. Victor.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you, I think maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, I was on a flight like that, and it's scary and embarrassing because you come through all the airports and then you arrive at RIA, and I was on I think a Brussels airline. You had the foolish European kids, I mean, not foolish, but young, whatever it is. But they're telling you, okay, guys, you gotta get your phone light, your phone flashlights out, and be prepared, to use it. And yeah, of course, you look outside, and this is when the light, the lights are the wrong way out on. It's let alone no lights at all. I can't imagine how people must have felt, coming through the airport. A lot has to be done. But Jerome alluded to the big, fanfare with the Mahatma brothers, giving two giant generators. I think one had about 1250 kVA capacity, and the other around 110. And these are big enough to probably power out of Margibi County. So Jerome read the presser from the LAA, but the LEC is also coming out swinging. They're saying no, it's not true. And the LEC right now, the management is out for confirmation. They're not going to leave anything lying down. They're not going to take the blame. So they have come out to say no, it's not true. The problem really was the lack of fuel at the airport. That's what the LEC is saying. And so it kind of comes back to the bigger picture. The front page Africa is reporting that in last year, the year before, there was a $2.6 million allotted to the airport. In this budget, there's $3.2 million allotted, but vehicles and maintenance for the higher ups in the government over $40 million. So you just do the math. Where are our priorities? You're spending $40 million on vehicles, fuel, and maintenance. Whatever. Legislator getting $45,000 worth of cars every 3 years. So we're putting the money where our priorities are not. The airport should really be, because we're shooting ourselves in the leg. What kind of serious money investor will come through the airport, and the first thing they see is the descent in darkness? There's a lot of things that go with that. The absence of internet, the absence of, there's a whole lot. So the only investor who will be willing to come here will be the one who knows they will be making a killing over the top, like we're getting now. Lady is reporting last year we generated $1.4 billion in revenue. The government took in only $182 million. That's the kind of investors we will attract, because we're not making ourselves attractive enough. So I will pass it on to Sarah, but it's just really discouraging when you see that our priorities are upside down, especially under this government that we really should have done better than our immediate past government.
Yeah, okay. Before Sarah comes in, if the guys in the studio are listening to this, can you share the darkness that was at that airport? Can you share the picture before Sarah comes in? There was a plane misfunction at the airport here in one of the states. I think that plane fell, but nothing happened to none of the people. That the airline gave each of the people on that flight $10,000 each. The Liberian government should pay the people that were on that flight. Seriously. They should pay the people some money for the trauma and the pain and suffering and whatsoever they went through. Can you share the darkness? Look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh no. That is just too much.
That's crazy.
I know some people fainted on that flight because that fear and that small fear. I can just imagine. I'm sorry, but it's not any small fear there. There. Look at that. The place is black. Like when the car lights that, shine a little bit. And like sometimes, especially when rainy season are pushing the picking people, they're black.
Yeah.
Black jets, dark. But Sarah's come in. Thank you guys. Sarah, you can come in with your intake on this.
I have this belief that hypocrisy is a virus that lives in human. The airport we have, the international airport RRA, is not living up to global aviation standard. We've violated aviation standard over the years. Liberia continues to prove itself to be one of the poorest countries in the world. Yet the hypocrisy is the salary structure of our government officials. And the interesting thing about it all is that with all of the happenings, the worst things happening in the country, the very people, the very masses that are suffering are the very ones defending government officials here and there, here and there. Right now, I don't know if those guys have been paid to do that as a job, as a piece of job, but most of the young people now you see on Facebook, they go to bed with hunger, but they defend everything President Barker does. Like the Lexus he just purchased, such a car. 80-year-old president should purchase such a car. I mean, and when I saw that on the social media, one of the comment I made yesterday was that the Lexus money, the money the Uber used to buy the Lexus, I think it could secure too many machines for the airport, and that situation would not have occurred. You can see the UP guys reaction. You can see their reaction. Do you expect him to ride taxi? Do you expect him to ride raffle to go to work? As though I was the one who told him to say he can even afford riding wheelbarrow to go to the mansion. I mean, it's just sickening. The very people that should be feeding for themselves are not feeding for themselves. They are all over the place defending, and that's how I think Liberia will continue to be for a long while, because I don't smell any change anytime soon. I think the thing about civil aviation, they got regulatory body. I know of them. I think ACAO, they got something called ACAO and IATA. I work at the international airport in Dubai for a couple of months, and I went through their training. The thing Liberia continue to do is a flagrant violation, against all the standards in civil aviation policy. I don't know why ACAO is yet to even fund Liberia or to stop flights from entering Liberia. That's the only time I know our government will be serious. Because if electricity will be problem, I don't think it should be at the airport. It was embarrassing when I was leaving the country. When we got at the airport, the entire terminal was so very heated. You can't withstand the heat at the airport. There is no AC in the terminal. The place is dark, and they do not even have trolleys. They do not have trolleys for people to tow their suitcases. When you get your luggages, the only thing they ask you to say, since you are Liberian, you should the few trolleys they have there, you should leave them for foreigners. So you have to tow your suitcases. You know, you tow them, you carry them for those guys to check. It's something embarrassing. They have only a few trolleys. We all the big mouth of Stevie Johnson were yelling all over the place on different platforms, proving himself to be professional, and now he's in a job. He has the job, but they forget it so quick. Money can make people forget. Enjoyment can make people forget. Those guys are forgetting. That's why I always told people propaganda is very easy, but governance is a major challenge. It's something embarrassing until either Ayata or Akao can found Liberia. They will not listen. They will not, everything you say, they will say, oh, the people, because they are not in power, they want to politicize everything. And this thing was one of the major topics on during the CDC government. Each time electricity had problem at the airport, the UP guy would take on all social media platforms discussing it. I don't know why it's even President Barker himself made it to appear as a priority when he was in opposition. But it's a huge embarrassment for our country. Politics aside, I think Liberia needs to pay some damages to airlines and passengers, like you rightly said, because if they having to pay damages to airlines and passengers, they will put the right measures in place to ensure the safety of passengers.
Thank you, Mr. Garguah. That is so true. I mean, this is a modern world, and things like that happen. You have to compensate the passenger. You have to compensate the airlines. It's the right thing to do. But then you see, the thing that puzzles me is that this is an immediate release concerning the LEC. The president, I will read forbidden. The President Boakai appoints acting leadership LEC. This man is still appointing.
Cyrus, people don't mute.
Yeah. He is still appointing on a regular basis. They what if you look at my Facebook page today, I don't know how many of your friends with me here, but I said Boakai or your UP government official, then they matter. The in faces. Wait 1 minute. Let me put my stuff up quick. Come on, in faces, how they say the matter just occupy space.
That's right.
It occupies space. They just occupying the space there. All of them being they parked. Joseph Boakai said he was parked for 12 years. I had a park right now. They all in the park. They just there because nothing moving. They try to conference go and show lights. Oh, the president is doing very well. Nothing is moving in the country until you have the airport, international airport, dark.
And Grace, some of the things Sarah is mentioning, and when you're saying these things, our guys, they say, "Oh, you're wishing ill on Liberia," you call it for sanctions, but because there is no pressure from within to compel our people to do what they need for, as our people say. What he's talking about, you go through the airport because the whatever is powering the airport is not delivering enough power. The lights are blinking like Christmas light, like you said, no air in the place. I mean, you're like suffocating. The escalator doesn't work. You got to take your bag upstairs by yourself. I don't know if the elevators work. Now, suppose you're coming through the airport and you're not well, you can't go up the stairs. What is going to happen? Someone's going to put you on their back. So, maybe some international inspectorate has to come in there and compel them to do the right thing. But the airport is substandard, even as it is, and yet we're having even power problem. It's just really disheartening.
In 2025.
In 2025, yes.
But this is the executive mansion of Liberia for immediate release. President Boakai appoints acting leadership of LEC. March 31st, 2025, Executive Mansion Monrovia, President Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. has appointed the acting leadership of the Liberian Electricity Corporation, LEC. Those appointed are Liberia Electricity Corporation, and it's Mr. Mohammed M. Sherry, acting managing director. Mr. Eric Augustine B. Frederick, acting deputy managing director for administration. Mr. Thomas Z. Gongloe, acting deputy managing director for operations. These appointments take immediate effect until the return and confirmation by the Liberian Senate. When they go to the Senate, they will confirm all of this. So we get tired. President Boakai calls on all appointed officials of government to continue to demonstrate diligence, commitment, integrity, professionalism, and loyalty in service to the country. Signed, the press secretary. Can you imagine? They're still appointing people and still adding more positions within government, still adding more titles. But then the LEC is not, the electricity is a mess. Every other thing is not going on right. So I don't know. Maybe the new people that are coming to LEC, who knows? Maybe they will fix this stuff.
And if we want to be nuanced, right? If we want to be nuanced.
Sarah.
Sorry, sir. When Mr. Namefini can come in.
Yeah. If we want to be nuanced, they're playing with semantics here, right? They appointed these people and Senator Snow and others, and including the president pro tem said, no, you can't do that. You got to nominate the people. Okay. So now they're appointing them to act pending their confirmation. What does that mean? When you appoint somebody, is that really different from nominating? Because these are stages. You nominate, and then after the confirmation, you appoint. So now the Senate is on recess, and they are appointing an acting team pending confirmation. So when the confirmation is over, what is going to happen? What will they call what will happen after the confirmation? I'm just really confused.
Well, not only that, but you see, the whole Joseph Boakai administration, everybody is acting. You go to the LRC, acting. Everybody is acting. So the Republic of Liberia is like a stage now. Everybody is an actor. They're not. They are in character. They're not. These are not the real people. These people are fake. You know, when you in character, you play different character, right? Uh, you are play director. There was a guy, I think was named Guanko one, the guy with the long neck. Uh, he was appointed acting director, then he was demoted, then he was appointed director, then he was demoted. Now he reappointed as deputy. There's one guy. So I am wondering, why is everybody acting? The guy, President Waka made an appointment at the central bank. When Talu left, they say he's acting. The folks over at the telecommunication, everybody is acting. Now the LEC, and I told you guys, if you are a seasoned politician and you're into propaganda, you will see that whenever something major happens, they try to change the topic immediately. We are talking about the failure at the airport. All of a sudden, Joseph Waga takes to the airway and he's appointing directors at LEC as though they are responsible or will leave all the problem at the airport. And I wanted to show you the photograph from that was July 19, 2024, where Joseph Waga and the entourage from Ghana and everywhere with a fanfare, with the 3 huge generators that were supposed to alleviate darkness. And here we are, almost a year later, we are back to square one. I'm going to turn it over to Mr.
Cyrus.
Cyrus. Okay, Cyrus, while I pull up the photograph. Thank you.
Oh, you want to pull up the photograph of the people?
Yes. But he can go ahead and begin to go ahead, Cyrus.
Cyrus, go ahead.
I think the country now is moving on autopilot. We just have a president sitting somewhere, the Mary make. They are not interested in what the country is faced with. And the guys at the airport, they are not interested in electricity. I think they are there to ensure that George Weah does not use the executive branch. He does not use the diplomatic side to leave or enter the country. I think that's what Stephen Johnson is more interested in. He's not there to do the right thing to ensure that the airport doesn't go out of light. You know, they are just there when Weah is leaving. They signal their people and say, oh, he's about to travel. And, you know, the president will give them instruction and make sure let him pass the place ordinary people pass. You know, they call him a common citizen. So they are been treating him as such. They are not interested in doing anything, carrying any reform at the airport to attract investment. You know, they are only there when President Weah is coming from Ghana or is coming from anywhere. They just place call to their bosses and say he's coming. How do we treat him? They say let him use the ordinary citizen use. I think this should not be the trend we should be on by now. Liberia is the oldest. Liberia is the oldest, and the only thing we have to boast of is we are the oldest independent nation in Africa, but we don't have anything to show. Like sometimes when we have conversation with Rwandans, it appears embarrassing when the people begin to name public facilities, institutions that are owned by government. You know, Liberia likes those things. Liberia likes those things. I can show you, like Rwanda has one of the finest, one of the modern sports stadium in East Africa. You know, right in Kigali. And Liberia does not have those things. This old Samuel Kayando we have that is not even modernized. Nothing there looks beautiful. I think President Weah did his best to even renovate the place. And that's the only thing we have in the country. Rwanda has 2 airports. One of the airports they even building now as we speak. It will make news again. It will make news globally. The people are very serious minded people. But our country is so sickening, Everything about Liberia is politics. The people are not focused on governance. Everything they campaign on, the promises are not delivered. I don't expect anything of Stephen Johnson. When you give job to people based on patronage, you don't expect them to deliver. Like Daniel Sando and the rest of the guys, you see the way they behave in Liberia. The only reason people will maintain their job when you are arrogant, when you are disgruntled, when you have the face to use platforms to insult George Weah. Trust me, the president will maintain you for 6 years. That's how the country is proceeding.
All right, thank you. And the thing is that we don't want to make it so much about the last government. We just want to say to the Liberian government in place right now that we need things to change because that's how you run your campaign. What picture are you showing there?
I was showing the photograph of the 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 dedication of the three huge generators that came in from Ghana, where the president was doing a ribbon cutting with the police chief and all the big folks, and they said this was the end to darkness in Liberia at the airport. And
Can
this
you
was
send it? Can you send it to the guys in the studio?
yes, I'll send it to you, and then you can send it to
Yeah,
them.
send it there. So
So
we
wait,
like
yeah,
we
they
like
have
to welcome
yeah,
you on the platform.
great.
We thank you for coming. I would like you to say something and then I will ask you a question.
Yeah, good to be here. It's been a while. Good evening, everybody, and good evening, Cyrus. How you doing? Yeah, so I've been following the conversation in the back. So it's kind of interesting, but very, very unfortunate that Liberia, 177 years a country, we still talking about electricity going off at the international airport. That's very sad. But again, we talk about these things all the time, and people in government, people in authority, they take offense of all those things because they think when those things happen, nobody should talk, and everybody should just let it go, and then the next group of people comes and the same thing continue, no change, nothing. The same guys that are into leadership today at the airport, Stephen Johnson and the other people, they were the same guys that were criticizing yesterday when the Apple went off during the last administration. So what is it today that you come to give you the opportunity to do things differently, and the same thing happening at the Apple? Something that is very, very embarrassing for our country. And when people come out to speak about it, you go after them. You don't have that tolerance to even listen to feedback and all of that. It's just quite unfortunate. You know, as I mentioned, this is complete. And I hear people talking, say, "Oh, somebody should be fired for this." Nobody's going to be fired. Nobody's going to be fired. Nobody in that country have ever been fired, both under the UP and the CDC government because of incompetence. They are not going to fire anybody. The only reason they're going to fire people, or the only reason they fire people in Liberia, because practically maybe you defer with the president, or you're not in good relationship with the president and what have you, and so they get rid of you within the government, or because you are sharing, you are coming from different political institutions, like the people we see now being targeted because they were appointed by the former leadership, which is the CDC and all of that. But it's quite unfortunate. But I had my own experience when I was living Liberia, and that's where I know that we are way backward. So when you're traveling, they tell you go and get this police clearance at the Liberia National Police Headquarters. So I went there, did all the process and stuff like that. So they say, oh, you need to go and do a fingerprint. So now this morning I wake up early in the morning, went to the police headquarters to do a fingerprint. And guess what? Those guys were doing fingerprint with a dot that you use on your shoe to change the color of your shoe. Is what they had in the bucket. They tell you to come and put your 5 finger into that dot and put it on a sheet of paper. That's a fingerprint. In Liberia, and it was, I think, sometime in January before this new administration cycle. even took office. That's what it happened. So we did that stuff, and then after they get a soap water, they even ask you to pay money to wash your hand in the soap water after you put it in a bag to put it on a sheet of paper, which will cost fingerprint. And you do all those things, and then they give you your paper, say you get police clearance. And up to now, I don't know if that system changed or they still doing that. And that's the country we have. You have light going up, high school students protesting, and you have the president of the country going to get a vehicle for $1.some million. And the same people they said in the country that they had say nothing is happening. And when you come to talk, they target you. Look at what is happening today. The father today in Liberia, the potential opposition figures of people, Liberians are still even talking about George Weah coming back to power. That even tells you that we don't have a future. This man was there recently. You voted this man out. You say he performed badly. And after a few years, or a year, not even a few years, just a year of the new administration, you come back and say you want to bring a man back. What is different Georgia is going to bring? So it's just unfortunate. So at times, we'll keep having those, the kind of conversation, but it's really, really embarrassing to see our international airport going up, and those high school students who should be going to school to sit in class and learn. And instead of doing that, they are on the street protesting because our teachers are not getting paid on time, and you send police after them to tear gas them and all of that. That's really sad. Other countries that we are way ahead of in terms of age, they're not thinking about airport. They're going off at the airport. They're thinking about doing different things. Just recently, I will close on this, Grace. Rwanda and Congo had an issue recently. So Congo decided to influence some, European country to go against Rwanda. Like putting sanction on Rwanda out of that. And one of the countries, I think Belgium or something like that. So the moment Rwanda noticed it, because of that independence, you know what they did? Instead of that European country putting sanction on them, they put sanction on that European country. And they told them, we gave you 48 hours. All your diplomats should leave our country. When Liberia will have that courage to take a decision like that against, we're not saying you should be, harsh on international partner, but in the interest of your people, when we are going to do that, to stand and say, you know what, for interfering into our internal wrangling or internal stuff, we are putting sanction on you. We are scared. To even speak to international media, we're scared. And then public officials get the opportunity to speak to international media. They take that as an achievement, all of that. So it's really sad. It's really, really sad.
Thank you. Mr. Gamer, you want to talk about that picture? I sent it to the guys in the studio. I don't know if I'm still listening. Can you please put that picture up? Concerning the picture was about. Let me go back. The picture is about them cutting the ribbon. Remember that time on July 19, 2024, President Barker ends RIA Darkness Commission 3 giant-sized generator and dedicate 20 police something. So we wanted to share that picture because it was in 2024 in July. We are in 2025. This is April. So we don't understand how is it that electricity or the current is still going off at the airport, right?
And those are not regular generators. These are industrial size. If you look at the pictures, you will see the president and the technicians, the vice president was there, the police chief was there,
Yeah.
all the big wigs were there, and they declared darkness at the airport eradicated. Now here we are. Even if LEC went off, what happened to the backup generators? We are talking about the airport. Lives of people are on the line. SM Brussels is one of our largest carriers. I don't know how many people were on that flight, but when I went over there, were like over 200 folks. So if you have that many folks, years ago, SM Brussels again came and There were debris on the air. You remember that there were debris on the landing way, and they had a flat tire, and they almost, had a crash. And the CNS in Brussels, for some reason, and the airport is completely dark.
You see, seeing that picture, Mr. Gamer, you just know that these people are just out for photo ops. This government, what I noticed, they just want to take pictures, all the yellow mission thing, that other thing. It's just for photo ops, and it's just sad because our people are still living in actual poverty, and the country is being seen too. The people look at us as too, beneath whatsoever, because like people are supposed to be on top of things right now, but because of the bad leadership, and our people consistently put the wrong people into power to take leadership in our country. So we hope that they are learning from their mistakes, and 2029 could be different. Who knows? But because these people, they come around with bag of rice, and not even bag of rice, a plastic bag of rice, get $20 and a gallon, or the people go and vote for them for that meaning they just want to eat. For some reason, we need to really find a way and how to get to our people, educating them how to vote and what to look for, the prospect, the future, how to see a leader that will deliver for the country and deliver for them and their children. But we're moving forward from there. Ansu did not able to share it because I don't know why they're not hearing us or what. But let's talk about the national.
No, Ansu asking you to send a link to him.
He don't need a picture. He needs the link.
Now what I'm saying, you send a link to him.
I send the pictures to him in his inbox, but I don't have the.
Yeah, for him to how you came on the show, for him to be able to come on the show to show the link, to show the photo, you have to send the link to him.
Who is Ansu?
Ansu, the guy in studio.
But they were on. They were in the studio.
On, so
they brought us on.
They brought us on.
Yeah, but I see a comment in a private chat that you should send a link. Okay, it's not Ansu, it's Mabon. Mabon just text you.
The Mabon send a link for me. For how let me send the link. So I choose
send it to Tomalin George. But Victor, what we are talking about here, Sis Grace, we have to find a different way, like you say, because the last time we pray, and I think 13 out of the 15 senators that went for election never came back, right? We replaced those people, and we got rid of 13 bad apples, and we brought another 13 that turned out to be as bad. So getting these people out of office is not our problem. The problem here is because we do not have a standard institution to which people can actually subscribe. So, for instance, all those gentlemen and women that came on the CDC ticket that got elected, after they got elected, they said, we are not sedition. We do not subscribe to the PAPD. We are an alliance. We have our own agenda. So we cannot go by what CDC wants to do or what CDC says. So this is where we are. Because we want to win, do we just bring anybody on who does not believe in our ideology, our standards, our causes, and we just bring them and they win? Once they win, they're into power for 6 or 9 years, they decide to be deviant, to go outside of our norm and say, we are not part of you. You want to be Mr. Perfect? We are not part of you. We are just an alliance. We are not part of the CMC or CDC or UP. We are an alliance. You brought us on because you wanted to win, but we have our own agenda. So this is where we are. This is the $1 million question or problem that we have to solve, Victor.
Jeff, Victor, come here. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mr. Langley.
Yeah, there are two things I would say about that, Jerome. One is I think those of us in the opposition community, we need to do a better job of educating our electorate so that, they will get their feelings out of voting and put their heads into the voting. Because, yes, they're doing a pretty better job now at not returning them. But I think we need to help them get to the stage where they will sniff out the bad ones even before they get elected, because I think I think some of the candidates are counting on that. Yeah, if I go in for 9 years, if they don't return me, 9 years, making $15,000 a month times 12 times 9, that's a lot of money. So we have a responsibility to get them to that level so that during the campaign period, we will be able to discern the candidates that are actually committed to the issues, as opposed to those who are just coming to buy votes and truck people from here and there. All of that, I think it has to be stopped. So that leads me to the second point. This whole question of electioneering. I think it was Unsa we had on another show, but he said there are attempts on afoot, I think by the CMC, to call for a review of the elections laws. I think something needs to happen about that. I think the whole concept of trucking, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I think that's something that the Elections Commission really needs to pay attention to, because if you're going to bring in a voter who doesn't live in my district and he's going to elect you, chances are that that person does not know what my lived issues are, what is paining me, what I need help with. They may not understand those, and may not therefore push for those to be a part of your agenda. And so they're just coming in, get paid, vote, and go back to wherever they were. I think that should be looked into. I don't see how that is legal. Again, the Elections Commission, they are doing their job, but I hope they'll look into that. So I think those are the two major issues I will lift out of that. In the UPP, we have had our share of that problem, where some of our guys have gone in government to serve, and they make the argument that they got into government on their own. But of course, we give you the foundation that you used as a springboard to get in government. How is it you got in there on your own? Because it is important that when you get into government, you represent the ideals and aspirations of the institution that was responsible for getting you there. We've had people who come in, and once they get elected, they completely cut the cord. You can't get them to espouse any of your programs, and that is a problem. So I think that also, something needs to be done about that. If you come in and say you represent, the CPP, then the CPP campaign on several planks for which you got elected, and you should be responsible to making sure that those things you advocated for during the campaign, you will make sure to do them. But if you cut the cord from the CPP, how are you then responsible to anything? So for 9 years, you're just there getting paid. I mean, I was reading the report, the closing of the legislature by the Honorable Deputy Speaker. Throughout the entire time, they passed two bills. Two bills. After spending millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. Two bills. And who even know whether those bills will stand up to scrutiny? So, there's a lot that needs to be done to hold our elected officials responsible, because they work for us. We're paying them,
But
and they have to perform.
Victor, real quick, Grace, before you go, here we are. I think when the CMC political leader mentioned cutting down the term, and this is what we are saying. The length of stay in office is so long. Okay, let's for instance, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. We say within 2 years, if you are deviant, we will primary you within 2 years. If you don't go by our plan, I think Grace may speak to this. We will primary you. That means we put somebody against you, and that person will remove you because you are deviant. 2 years. And this is where Honorable Musa Benedict was talking about. They are talking about the compromise, right? 6 years is too long.
Yeah.
If you got 2 years, and you come to power on our sweat, the only recourse that CMC has to get back at you or remove you is to primary you to say next time You're not a shoe-in. We're going to primary you, and we'll get you out of there. But for 6 years, the damage would be so catastrophic that it's almost impossible to make up 6 years.
I think the guys in the House are there for 9 years.
Yes,
no?
in the Senate. In the Senate.
And the thing is that
exactly.
when you're in a
So
position,
if you get primary, you're there for 9 years before the next primary comes
That's
around.
correct.
When you're in a position for that long, you become complacent. You become very lackadaisical. You don't really care because you're not going to deliver. But if you have just at least 3 years, and you will try to do everything, especially if you want them to re-vote you into office. So all these things need to be changed. But talking about elections, we are talking about the Nima County election, the by-election in Nima County, which is very crucial to our country. And when we're talking about these things, this is time for them to actually listen, because right now I see Sana Koga now erect a statue for Prince Johnson that don't even look at Prince Johnson, look at himself. Yeah, it looked at himself, but then he I mean, why are you even doing all of this if you have real tangibles? If you really did the people work for the 13 years that you stay in power, you think you'll go force yourself to erect a statue just for the people to say, oh, yes, you're supposed to be godfather? Nima County don't need any more godfather. Those things are done in certain time, and they are graduated from, because Prince Johnson is the only person that will be ever called the godfather of Nima at the point in time. It's time to move on. Nima is a county. They need a senator that will deliver for them, that have done something before in the county, and people have seen that the work was there. They've seen that this person had done what it is that they needed to do. And for me, that person is Mark Myean at this point in time. You know, I know people call me, they'll say, oh, says Grace, you know, we respect you. Mark Myean did, but when you look in the race, who else do you see? You see a man who is in almost mid-age, who has done a lot of work for the Nima County people. Yeah, the statue, yeah. Look, I mean, the statue, I don't know what it means. They got a gun lying down in front of it. Then it's standing up with a mic in hand, the power in the left hand, the mic in the right hand, and the 2 lions, one facing the other, one facing the front, the other one facing the back. What does this mean?
And he got his gun. He got his gun.
At all.
He got his gun on the floor.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Prince Johnson at all. So we try to tell the Nima County people, these things should not buy you. You have to look at a candidate and say, you know what, that person, although they didn't give me money, they didn't give me rice, they did not give me oil, but I think that maybe they will do something that will be able to extend into the future, that will help Nima County in every aspect of what the county needs to move on. And they will be able to work with other people that are already doing the work. Kana Koga is in that place, most of the people there say he's there with him. So how will he be able to interact with these different representatives to really deliver for Nima County? He in the House of Representatives, he was one of the people that are fight against the rule of law. So what kind of what kind of law that he's going to make sure happen, that the law will be abided by in Nima County? So you have to look at those things before you vote people to carry on your. They made 13 years. He stayed erecting statue and jumping all day by it. And he had done so much work. You think he was going to be doing that? The people are going to see the work that he already done and say, you know what? We can vote this man to power, because look at 13 years, how he delivered. He got tangible, but the man don't have anything to show. Before April 22nd, we'll be sitting here, he will go do another statue again, maybe with Prince Johnson West. Who knows? Yeah, just to prove to the people that, you know, he into Prince Johnson family, and the Prince Johnson wanted him, but in the meanwhile, Prince Johnson has a video out there that he was recommending that Blinwon should be senator of Nima County. So don't let these people confuse you, my people. Don't let them confuse you. You can vote who you want, but at this point in time, the way I see the back and forth with Koga, I don't think he's the person. And then he came right on the platform, we asking a question. I asking the question, he pushed back at me so hard because he has no respect for women. Then he went on to talk about our sister Kehleboe Gongloe that did nothing but just put herself in the race because she has the right to do that. That's a God-given right. You know, she's a Peabody, number one. Number two, she was superintendent before in the county. Whatsoever she has tangible in, she will show it to the people. The people deem it wise to vote for her. But the idea you even see in the day and age, in 2025, Well, women and all, and Johnson said you were president of your country. He said, oh, where we are, women can't come there. Who are you? Are you living in utopia? Those things don't happen anymore in the world. You know, in America, women, especially black women, are the most educated set of people in the great United States of America. In the great United States, women are the most educated, especially black women. And you will say that women are supposed to stay in a place. So if you have tangibles, you bring it in, you bring what you have done to the people, you lay it down and say, look, this is what I have done. I want to do more, but you have to give me the chance. But you start erecting statue, the statue looking crippled, number one. The statue don't even look like the Prince Johnson. Number look at the way they wrap the statue also.
But have you seen the one of Emmanuel Ndukwe?
I saw that one too. Oh my God. Can you imagine? They made the record goes. And tell me, people said that because he put it on her, they should vote for him to be senator for Nima County. This is not how you get votes. This is not how you serve your people. You serve your people. So at the end of the day, the people's lives are transitioned. They change into the better. You transform their lives. Yeah, you jump what they made there, but now you're going to pay something. We know what else you're coming with before April 22nd. So I want you to speak on the reason I've even brought that up was the national elections releases a final list of candidates for Nima County as the movement for democratic reconstruction questioned the eligibility of candidates like Kehleboe Gongloe and Nyenwolo Fangalo. So two people in our race, now the MDR, which is, you know, the one of the political parties in that were saying that these other two people, they don't have the right or credentials or whatsoever right that they were supposed to do according to the law to be in an elections. They don't have that. They never went through the process the right way, so they should be removed from the elections. So I wanted you guys to speak on that. You know, I will have to leave the show because I have other engagements, so Mr. Gamer is going to take over. But I think I will have to speak on that, and I will send you the rest of the topic, Mr. Gamer, so you can continue the show. It was blessed. It was nice being here with every one of you. I hope you have a blessed evening. I will take my leave now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah,
let me just segue into what she was talking, and I'm going to read the full press release, and then we will go to Cyrus. Was that a statue or a mummy? They were wrapping up there. We'll talk about it. And this is courtesy of Liberia TV and television and news. It says here the headline, MDR calls for investigation into alleged election law violations in Nima County. Nima County senatorial by-election, written by UB Grant or Garnett. Monrovia, March 31st, 2025. In the letter sent to National Elections Commission, NEC, on Monday, March 31st, there goes the letter right here. Okay? March 31st, the Movement for Democratic Change and Reconstruction, MDL, have formally requested an investigation into potential violation of election law concerning two candidates for the upcoming election, county election, bicentennial election. And this is the letter right here. In light of these allegations, MDR formally requests that the National Elections Commission, NEC, conduct a full review and verification of the candidates' registration process, specifically focusing on the following: the QR code records associated with their voter registrations, fingerprint verification to determine their prior registration and eligibility, any other documentation or requirement necessary to establish compliance with the electoral laws of Liberia. So this is a few days ago, we were talking about people from Nima County. There were people calling on here. There were people saying a lot of stuff that were saying Koga was a shoe-in. Koga would be the next senator. After closing argument began to expose some of the tricks, and after our young incoming lawyer, Cyrus, dissected the whole electoral process, the heat is now on the vice president and Mr. Koga. And all of a sudden, instead of going out there making the case, they have begun to do the old tricks by trying to disqualify these people before the election even start. So, Cyrus, here we are. There are two scenarios in politics. There are two men that are fighting for the supremacy of Lofa County, of Nimba County. Kuhn wants to be the godfather. He's the vice president, as being the most senior elected officer in the country from Nimba, wants to be the godfather. Koga, the representative, the incoming senator, the expiring incoming senator, wants to be the godfather as well. There are people out there who are saying Kung is going to support Koga artificially on the periphery. But he really doesn't want Koga to win because he doesn't want Koga to become the godfather of Nimba. So you are a Nimbayan, you understand the politics, but these are the things that you have to dissect. Does Kung really want Koga to be the godfather of Nimba? Or does he support Koga on the periphery and hoping that he loses so Kung can still be the godfather of Nimba? Cyrus.
Yeah, so you know, the issue with Kun and Koga, I think Kun 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 is confused. Kun is confused. He doesn't have control over the decision. You know, he doesn't have control over the situation right now. So I think, from what I've heard, Kun does not support Koga 100%, and you know he is not certain that Koga is going to stay with him. He has a level of fear. You know, Kun has a record of betrayal. He's a deceitful guy. So I mean, he has that fear that somebody too will want to betray him someday. But real quick though, before I get to the Koga and Kun thing, um, Madam Grace made a statement that Nimba should prefer Mike Bloom, making Mike Bloom senator. I think it's a disservice to our people, and maybe she was speaking from a party point of view, because the Nimba that I know, a county like Nimba are not river sex. Nimba is not river sex. Nimba is a very big county. I think the second largest county in the country. To encourage Nimbayan to support a Mike Bloom, somebody who is pursuing an associate degree at the local community college. I think it's a disservice to our people. I'm discouraged to hear it.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Cyrus, let me push back. Let me push back on that, because there's nowhere in our constitution where it sets education criteria for having the quality to run for office anywhere. So there are people in the Senate, in the House, or even in the executive that do not have the requisite, according to you, college education, master's degree. The Constitution does not call for college education to run for public office. So how do you reconcile that?
so the thing is, our constitution is silent on education, but we the voters should be wise enough to make decision based on qualification, even though the constitution is silent. And one of the things that continue to hold our country backward is the basis of electing people based on relationship. We don't scrutinize their credential. We don't make it a priority. And people just vote in Liberia based on relationship. This is something that continues, because here is the thing: if we send people in the legislature, they should be people who are prepared academically, people who are schooled. But because our constitution is silent on certain things, and we make it worse by sending people who do not know their left from their right. Is actually not, because the legislature is a place for law making, and that's their primary responsibility, to make law. So what happens if you send somebody like Mike Bloom in the Senate? What do you expect for such a man to do? Do you expect him to deliver? I think it will not help Liberia. We can't continue on this path. We have people in the race who are schooled, and people want to turn their back on them because they are not from certain political background. And this is the problem Liberia has. It's embarrassing for me. I got embarrassed hearing that, because Mike Blow is a very good guy. I know him, but academically he's lazy. He doesn't have the capacity. So for people to support him because of party, then I don't think they love Nimba. But to your question as to Koga and Kun relationship, I think Kun is a threat. He has the mindset that Koga might betray him someday, and he's not too clear. But at this point, he has no choice. He is under the obligation to support Koga, and I'm sure he's doing so by now. But by then, he put forth some strategies. He was playing game here and there, double standard. People like Mike Bloom, for example, he's the one who planted them in the race. People that character like Prophet Key, and you would not believe that Prophet Key is on Kun's payroll. Even though he's doing no job, but he is on payroll in a VP's office. And he's the one who registered Prophet Key. He is the same person who planted Mark Blower in the process, because Mark Blower, Peter is just taking a very huge risk. Mark Blower is a surrogate to Kun. He's somebody that Kun has been teleguarding back and forth, and they are into some things that they can't go against each other. If you follow the 2023 elections, Mike Blower was one of the reasons that got President Weah defeated in Nimba. you know I mean, a lot of things happen. So if anybody thinks, even if Mike Bloom is to win something that I know is not possible, if Mike Bloom is to win, for example, in the worst case scenario, who benefits from my services? Kun benefits, because Kun telegraphs the man whatever Kun tells him, that exactly what he does. Mike is not going to disagree with Kun any day. He's a surrogate to Kun. So I mean, we need that independent voice, somebody who will be an alternative for our people, somebody who will control himself or herself. But it can be somebody that Mike Blown that can just pick his telephone anytime and say do this, and they take instructions. So I mean, Nimba should look for that kind of person who has self-esteem, somebody who has his or her own opinion.
Great. Siddiqui,
Yeah.
while I respect the young man, our incoming lawyer here, he is violating the cardinal reason for our state. The nation state says the people have the right to elect people of their kind, people from within them, from among themselves. And this man has elevated that to a college degree when 99.9% of the public of Liberia do not have a college degree. Cyrus is saying 99.9% of the Republic of Liberia citizens should never hold office in Liberia because they do not have a college education. Your take on that before we go to the election thing. But this one got to me because he said that, and I look at the United States Constitution, and they specifically said that education criteria should not be a reason for disbarring somebody for taking part in the election. Or it says here you got to have an age limit. You got to be at least 25 years of age, live 7 years within your domain, and be ready to run and have an idea. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I think I've been listening to Cyrus, but the way you try to put it, I don't think that's what Cyrus meant. Sarah, I don't think Sarah tried to say that whoever don't have a college degree, they should never get into leadership. I don't think that's what it meant. And
What do you
about
think? What do you think he meant? Because he said the man
no, I
doesn't have
think it
the
was.
man. He said the man doesn't even have an associate degree. He's at a community college.
Yeah, I think he was being very specific with Mark. I don't know Mark Boyle. I don't know his last name. But for me, I just want to respect Cyrus for his opinion about Mark. That's how he felt, or that's how he want to kind of set his principle in terms of you know presenting his case as his message to the Limbadian who to vote for. So that is totally okay, and I respect that. So yeah, but for me personally, I don't have a candidate in the race in Limba, and you know I listened to you, Jerome. You said something, and before Grace went up, she also talked about that too. You talk about the kind of principle Liberians set before voting for people. Are we just going to continue to vote for people because they get popularity or they are winnable candidate, forgetting about the fact that what we really need is a leader who know what leadership is, who will hold people accountable, who will bring smart people together, regardless of which party you are from, who is not intimidated by smart people, who is not a tribalist, who will have a tolerance, whether you're Muslims, you're Christian, you're pagan, whatever whatever your belief are, you know, and all of that. So for me, this is where my disappointment comes in when it comes to the Liberian politics. And there was a senior brother of mine, we were in a campaign together in the last election in Liberia. So after everything, and this is what he told me, from his own observation and all of that. So he told me, he said, look, Siliki, for what I've seen here, it seems like, 80% or 90% of this population, they are not qualified to vote. And when you say this, not constitutionally, though. It's not like, because constitutionally, the Constitution says when you are 18 years old, you're eligible to vote. And the Constitution also said that you have a right to vote or to support anybody you want to support. And so Liberians, because of the kind of ignorance that exists in our country, we hold on to that. During election time, we say, well, I'm a right. I'm a right. I get my right to support anybody I want to support it, all of that. But just because the Constitution says that you have a right to support anybody you want to support, for me, I think it means more than that. Look, this is just a typical example. You live in the United States, Sarah live in the United States, and I think the big brother there, Victor, live in the United States. So just because the law in America says before you give your car to your child to drive, your child should be 18 years old. That doesn't mean that when your child is 18 years old, you just go and give your child the car key, say go and drive. No. So the first thing you will do, or the first thing you must be sure of before you give your car key to that child, is to know that that child know how to drive. So that's the borderline here. So just because the Constitution say you can support anybody you want to support, that doesn't mean you can just see anybody and just throw your support behind it. Just because they get popularity, they are popular, people know them, and all of that. And so when they get there, and then your life for 6 good years remain the same. And then for them, their life continue to improve. They send our children abroad to the US to go to school, to Canada, to the UK, to all the sophisticated university you think about. But for you, you cannot even afford to go to the University of Liberia. The last time I listened to a press conference for the Student Unification Party, there was this young man and he was speaking. So this guy said, we told the administration to not give, to increase the admission in the school, and they refused to do it. I'm like, wow, this is complete nonsense. You're a student, why you gotta do an admission process? But again, we have a country that encourages kind of thing that they feel that it is a right. The administration should be the one to determine how many admission they will give to new students to come in the school. But because of the kind of system we get in the country, so for me, this is where my disappointment comes in. And all those candidates that are running in Nima, Jerome, none of them can tell you, look, this is my plan from day one when you elect me as senator. When I go there, this is what I will do. And even the voters, they are not asking for that. You go to Nima today, some of them will tell you they're not voting for how you call this guy, Koga, because Koga can speak to them, or Koga not get a t-shirt, or Koga can Koga me. Or someone will tell you, say, Mark, Mark like me, man, he not let young people. But it's not on an issue, it's not on principle. You understand? So at the end of the day, we have a long way to go. And I come back to this. Liberians went to the pool during the 2017 election and say Joseph Boakai and Mr. Selly, they've led the country for 12 years. So it was a time for a new individual, which is President Guar, to take leadership of the country. And then you come back this 2023, my people, you bring the same old man you rejected. And today see how the country is going. Now, less than a year, or after a year, rather, you in the country again, advocating for job, we have to come back. What do you want? What jobs we are did in the country that can inspire you to say, look, when this man come back, we will, it just seems that we are lacking of direction. We don't even know where we're going. Other countries are making headway in terms of economic growth, in terms of changing the minds of their citizens. No, this is what I say. At some point, we'll talk to our people, but you can't really beat on Liberians because
Siddiqui, let me push back real quick here.
Yeah.
When you go back to Western civilization, I think it was Martin Luther that told the Catholic Church during that era, the Irish person was not allowed to read the Bible. The Bible was supposed to be read to them. And his argument was, listen, if the scripture says every man is going to give an account of himself before the Lord, why are we reading the scripture to them? Why if Siddiqui tells God, say, well, that your other Lord there, you didn't read it to me, then why would I say to God? He said, so let us educate everybody. That was the beginning of public education, right? We're going to educate everybody so they can read the Bible for themselves. This is why Western society is so advanced, because the people are literate and they can discern for themselves. Now, why aren't you putting the onus on the Liberian government over the year, 200 years, that almost 80% of our population is illiterate, and you want to blame the people for being illiterate?
Look, the issue is not illiteracy.
It is illiteracy.
No, it is not. It is
okay.
not. The first
I hold you ready 1 minute. I'll hold you ready 1 minute. 1 minute. I'll hold you ready. Victor Namwe, I will come to you. Welcome, Sister Dopo here. Victor Namwe. Now we come in. I'm coming back to you here. We talk about the difference between comprehension, okay? We talk about reading and we talk about comprehension. And to do critical thinking, you have to understand the subject matter, okay? So we are saying here, if the man or woman cannot read and write and understand, comprehend, how does a man like Siddiqui convince you who cannot read or write to see things critically as he wants you to see it?
Yeah, that's a critical, difficult call. I can't speak to that. Siddiqui is here; he will speak to that. But I wanted to talk about, the point that Sarah is making. This is a legitimate point. I think a minimum college education, I think, will help for a candidate for the legislature or the Senate. But I don't know if it is a game breaker in a qualifier. If the way the process is laid out, if our people follow that process, all these legislators, they have a coterie of staff, in assistant in their offices, for various requirements, and there is always a legislative assistant. Some of them are lawyers, if our guys, the money they're giving them, that is what they're supposed to do with this money, to bring in people who are knowledgeable on the issues. You bring in, you have to, if you want to bring in a lawyer, an engineer, whatever committee you represent, you bring who will give you informed advice. That's what it should be. You don't have to be an expert in any of the areas to become a legislator, but that's why you fortify your office with people who understand the issue. They will advise you, on the implications of issues, how you vote, how, what your vote will mean, and all of that. So I don't disagree with him, but I don't agree necessarily that you must meet that qualification. I think he said, the gentleman is a community college guy. I think community college education is quite sufficient in my understanding. But what I would say is, you have to be smart enough and willing to employ people who will bring the expertise to your office and help you out. But most of them, the money they're giving them, they take that money and pocket it, and therefore they end up doing nothing. They just go to the office, to the chambers, and sit there, and they can't make any input. Some of them have not uttered a word in their 9 years in the house because they got nothing to offer. And it's a sad state. Ms. Dopo, welcome to the set.
Sidiki, I'm coming back to you. Ms. Dopo, welcome here.
Thank you.
Our argument here, we are talking about the election in Nimba and Liberia as a whole. Why are we replacing the last time we advocated and we cleaned house? Of the 15 senators that went for election, only I think 2 or 3 came back. 13 were kicked out. And we replaced them with 13. And the 13 that came, they are behaving even worse than the one that we kicked out. So where is the disconnect here? Is it education? Is it greed? Is it lack of education? What's the disconnect here? Because we're talking about Congo have not done anything in 13, going on 14 years. Absolutely nothing, the folks say. But yet and still he has a plethora of folks and ideas and praise singers that are saying, even though he has not done anything, but at least he should be given a chance to be promoted. Whoever had an F and get promotion? Go ahead, Ms. Dopo.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for the show. Thank you for having me on. The disconnect, in my opinion, has to do with a lot of things. One of the things I think is gullibility. Our people, most times, are easily carried away by some of the lies that these people tell them. And another thing too is sometimes the candidates that are on there, they do not give the right message to the people. A lot of things. So now that we have the Nimba election coming up, like you guys were earlier saying about talking about Koga putting up a monument that does not remember Prince Johnson. These are some of the gullible attitudes. Like what is the monument gonna do for these people? What's the significance of it? They had a senator who was there for them. He passed off. You coming to present yourself as the next person in place. What is a monument of Prince Johnson going to do for the lives of the people of Nimba? So the message they carry to these people, they lie to them, they deceive them, and some of them get carried away by it. So at the end of the day, they vote for them and come to find out they voted for the wrong person. So it's a lot of things that got our people, sometimes voting for these people, that are not the right candidate. And like what Sarah said about education, even though our constitution does not, recognize a specific degree or whatsoever, but I think education is also important, and experience on the job. I don't know the status of Mike Myean when it comes to that. Like he was saying, he's assessing whatever his degree is, but at the end of the day, I think then people of Nimba should look at the experience of these people, the ability to deliver to them. Koga has been there for 13 years. What has he done? All he does is support the rule of law blacks. That's what he has been doing. He has not done anything to affect any change in the life of any Nimbaans. And I know they also know that. But because he passed around, he's part of the government. So he making people to think that he's doing something good for them. He lies to them. I think his district alone, people are there, and for the last couple of years, served. They have not felt his impact. But at the end of the day, because he's passing around parading with the vice president, so they make it look that he's some kind of a Bible candidate for them that he should succeed or the late Prince Johnson. So the gullibility, the false messages, the lies, all of these things confuse our people, and then they vote for the wrong candidate. That's just my take.
Thank you, Mr. Siliki. You were in flight. I'm going to give you. I'm going to debug. Hopefully, what I'm telling you, you will look at it critically. For those of you who are about credentialization, right? You look at Joseph Walker. You look at the guy who is Minister of Finance. You look at all the folks that Joseph Walker brought. What he did was you can put their credentials, line them up, and very few people can match some of these credentials. These credentials, these degrees do not have the corresponding experience to say they're going to deliver. There is no guarantee that a man with master's degree in finance is going to run our finance ministry successfully. So now you are saying we should rely, maybe not solely, but we should rely merely on credential. But the people in credential, today, Sidiki, you and myself in Liberia, we go to look for job in Liberian people. Then I come back again with a BB degree and nothing to show for it. So what do you say to the Liberian people that say y'all come with big degree for year in, year out, and you got our life have not changed? How will you defend yourself?
Okay, so this is the point I was making before you told me to hold on. You said, illiteracy is the problem, and so we should not be blaming Liberian people, but the leaders who have taken advantage of that. So for me, it's both ways. I would always like to share 50-50. The Liberian people take part of the blame, and the leaders who are elected takes part of the blame. So about that education stuff, I think I'll come to it later. But here is why. Let's understand this today, Jerome. God is not going to work with
lady.
No, I said Jerome. I was calling your name.
Okay. I thought you said gentleman. Yeah, go ahead.
No. Yeah. So I want us to understand this. God is not going to come from heaven or live in heaven to speak to Liberians that, look, this is what you should do to change your country. Mr. Sally made a statement before she left office that it is a primary responsibility of all Liberians to take the responsibility to develop his or her country. And so whenever there are election, the people you say they are election. Look, when you are in election, when you don't know about something, you know what you do, Jerome? You ask questions and you avail yourself to learn, but right now you open the phone line and say the people back home should call on this show and give that feedback. Bulk of them will be attacking all of us here on the show. Because you know why? They get people in government that gave them 1 or 2 cents. And so how can you tell me now that those people who are doing those things, that they are ignorance, and then they don't know what they're doing, and the people who are in government, they carry all the burdens? No. So it is our people. Once I know you today, Jerome, maybe they made you information minister, you can call me or you can chip in. So I just forget about the reality. Whether you living up to your task as a minister, I don't care about that. Or I know Jerome, I'm a pro, I will defend Jerome. And so it's about time, like the point you try to raise. Let's vote on tangible, on record, and most important, on experience. Not just any kind of experience, somebody been to this player for 30 years, for 40 years. But the amount of time that person been to that particular position, what have been the benefit, the impact, the result in terms of, positive things that you can allude to that you want for yourself, in the rest of the country. For me, this should be the baseline. So it's not illiteracy, it's both ways. The people don't know and the other they know. Everybody in lawyer is a lawyer. In Liberia, rather, is a lawyer. We are all, security expert. We are all health practitioner. Everybody know everything in Liberia. You wake up today, you read something on Facebook, you will see thousands of comments. Everybody acting as if to say they know. And you can't know all. Nobody, no one individual can know everything. So that's our problem. So to the education issue, Jerome, I don't think that, we Liberians, if you can notice we place too much emphasis on degree. to the extent that people just go to school in Liberia to just get a degree. And once they get it, you know what they say? I'm entitled to this job because I get degree. And that is not the benchmark for getting job. You know, and I get a couple of friends here. We have a lot of Liberians. In fact, every year, every December, Liberians graduate from the university I'm in. And Sarah's are we in the same university. Every December, there are Liberians who graduate. But do you know what? Most of those people, even back home, Jerome, people will graduate, they don't even have a resume. In a real world, you don't get a job because of degree. The degree you acquire, you will get skills through your education. That skill you highlight in your resume. But nowhere in this world, Jerome, you go and apply for a job, they tell you bring copy of your degree. It's only in Liberia when you graduate, you say I want to go and start some entry level in Liberia. They say send all your degree, that will see. That's the kind of we put too much emphasis on it, and that's why people like John Malone, they are no longer around today, because you know what? They suggested that look, President Parker, we said those people were not educated, they were bringing incompetent people into the governance or into the government. So what we want us to do is to set up a vetting process. When you nominate someone to be education minister, they should be vetted. And even the president want to compromise, because as always, people will sacrifice for you. You know that brings out, oh, that just leave the man, let the man go, and maybe you'll learn on the job. If you want to compromise, that person can go for some kind of 1 month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks training to kind of know what requires of that job they're going to occupy. But all the people who are around the president, they don't want that, because most of them will not make it through that vetting process. And all of them, they get degree.
Great.
So degree is just a paper.
Great.
So for me, I don't play emphasis on degree. You know, it's more about the experience, and not just years of experience, but positive, your productivity, what you've been able to give back. Because look at someone that bought open a more and talk, you say no, that makes the economy. The man went to some European country or American country, he went there on a forum. The man spoke, and the people get a man the best best finance minister. But in reality, the Liberian people are suffering. The implementation is the issue. Jerome.
But the reason why the Liberian people were suffering. Hold on.
Hold on, Cyrus. So here we are now. We are going to Nimba, right? I'm from Grand Bassa County. I'm from number 3 district. I'm from the interior. Where there have been no school for maybe 200 years. My sister, my cousin, most of them don't know anything. They can't read or write. So these guys come from Monrovia or Buchanan with a lot of rice and oil and everything, cash violence, and they translate in Bassa, right? Whatever they want to say, they translate in Bassa. My sister, my cousin, that don't speak English. So whatever these so-called educated folks who are not educated, but they understand English a little bit, but they represent the congressman, or so, they will come and say, this is what Jerome Gibson said, this is why you. And they say, okay, oh, our son Jerome said that. They say, yeah, so but let's vote for him. You see what I'm talking about? The disadvantage of public education or lack thereof, and the folks that take advantage of these folks. And it's coming to happen in Nimba now. We are talking about cash violence. This election will be T-shirt, rice, $50, $20 per vote. The common person who is hungry, okay? We are talking about dying for hunger and thirst. And all of a sudden, the same person that has suffocated you, that have made you hungry, want to compel you to have the Stockholm syndrome. You're going to feel sorry for the guy who's been doing all these bad things for you. You're going to take the liberty he brings for you and you put him back there. Isn't that what we are talking about here? We say, cannot, because it's the responsibility of the state to educate its citizens. It's not a citizen's responsibility to educate themselves. Cyrus, your take.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gamer. You know, first of all, I want you to carry a lot of time to be able to taste power. So when you give them a chance, they speak the whole night. You know,
Okay,
to sell Mr. Cummings. I mean, the thing about ANC, before I get to the NIMBA issue, the thing about ANC is
No,
like
nobody mentioned
a lady
ANC
who
here.
carries a fine sellable. No, I know the background from whence I'm speaking, Mr. Gilman.
Oh,
Um
okay.
the ANC, the entire ANC is like it's like a lady who carries a sellable goods in the market and covers the goods. She sits near the goose. She doesn't want to say anything to the buyer. She just sits near the goose only because the goose is farm. At the end of the day, if she does not find buyers and she goes home complaining why she carries a farm goose, the goose was not purchased. That's how the ANC operates. And it is not the case. You don't operate like that in politics. You hear them often praising Mr. Cummings. He's a wealthy man. He has principle. He has farm policy. He knows what it takes to transform Liberia. But before this transformation comes, Mr. Cummings must have been sold to the voters. When Mr. Cummings is sold to the voters and the message resonates with the people, then he will get the presidency. But the mistake they keep making, you see, George Weah, with all of his status, George Weah has still proven to be an ordinary man. He goes to community, he forgets about his state security, he mingles with ordinary people, and that is not the same thing with Mr. Cummings. They treat him like elite and he operates with only elites, people with title, people with good soul names, people with high status in society. How many are there in Liberia? Liberia is a gullible society. We are from traditional society. How many of our people are elites? How many of our people can afford? So this is one of the major reasons that causing Mr. Cummings' failure. It is not like the Liberians hate him. Nobody hates Mr. Cummings, but he doesn't want to mingle with the right people that will mobilize the voters. The last time I checked in Nimba, they have Lawrence Suar. This is a guy. His entire life is just about education. He doesn't mingle with ordinary people, and the ordinary people are the masses. They have Mariah Yakula. She's a so-called Nimbayan and she sees herself as an educated woman. If Mr. Cumming cannot teach this pattern, trust me, he will contest 100 times and loses 100 times. That's just the reality. You know, you saw we are yesterday when we was at the party headquarters. You saw the ordinary people interaction with President Weah. That's how a leader should be. But you can't sit down with your policy, with your principality. You say you have all these qualities, and unless the people give you their power, this thing will remain in you. Maybe you will join Bronsky. They need to be serious. So to the Nimba issue now. Um, Nimba now, I think Nimba is at a crossroad. For me, the reason I raised the issue of education is because of my experience from VP Jeremiah Kuhn. You see, when people are not educated, you give them power, they use the power to oppress educated people. That's how Kuhn is proceeding in Nimba. VP Jeremiah Kuhn, if you check in his inner circle, you cannot find any schooled face around there. You cannot find one single school person around him. He moves around with those terrible boys that can do anything to get money, those miscreants, because he himself comes from that background. And, educated people are only around to tote their bags. People like Tingban, people like Orofon Swagle, those schooled guys, the intellectual class has been used to tote bags for Kun and his boys. Jobs that should be occupied by them are given to those have school dropouts and all of that. So it sometimes when I see those things happening, it hurts me. So now my take on Mike is if Mike gets the senatorial seat and he excels, he will follow the same trend. He will want to emulate his boss. Because once the foundation is not there, they don't know what it takes to get a degree. So they will always use power because the Constitution did not provide for it. They will use power to oppress those who went to school. So I'm scared that he doesn't even go around it. So, as to the issue of NIMBA making a critical decision, this is something that we think on every day. I know Honorable Koga is not perfect. I know he has some lapses, involvement with the removal of Speaker Kofa and all of that. People have raised outright and all of that. But Honorable Koga has some qualities, and people been asking about projects he has done. He has undertaken his district for the past 13 to 14 years. I think if this platform reaches out to him or his office, they will be able to speak to that effect. But the leadership of NIMBA, the way I see it, I think Orokoga, Madam Edith, and Yelu should be the one we should be discussing on this platform. Since we want better NIMBA, we want better Liberia, you know. And one of them again should be Dr. Gompu. Dr. Gompu is experienced, he's educated, he has all the qualities, but this is the decision lies in our people purview. This is the decision that must be made based on who the people have confidence in. It should not be about who does what, but it should be about who the people, the voters have confidence in. If you are you are muted.
Yeah, I want while you in flight, I want you to also address the final listing, though. It has an impact on NIMBA. The final list and the request from those to target. Is it some fear now setting in that maybe things are not going as it's supposed to? So the best way to do is to disqualify some folks, especially the main rivalry.
So I think what I smell so far, I smell something different. I think somebody is trying to use Orokoga to get at Madame Gongloe, where I have not spoken with Orokoga or anybody around him since that legal action was pursued against Madame Gongloe Ware and 1OK. Like on a 1OK issue, I think I provided my opinion from the initial stage. I said 1OK contested in District 3 Monserrato just in 2023, and he contested there with different name, and suddenly he changed his name, to another name, something that raises concern. I know about 1OK situation, but with Madam Gongloe, they claim that the claimant has made so far against her with regard to the registration process. If it is about the picture, if it is about the picture on the ID card, then I think they don't have a right. I think because I know for a fact that the person whose picture is there is Madam Gongloe Ware, but they are claiming that she used her sister Mercy Gongloe to register for her, and her sister is the one whose picture is on the voter registration card. So if that's the only claim, then I think they don't have it. I think it's a mistake. But what I do believe, what I sense in that entire fight, I'm not quite aware Orokoga is aware, because this election is, even though Orokoga benefits whatever the MDR does, but this MDR is being pushed by Jeremiah Kuhn. Jeremiah Kuhn fear is if Madam Gongloe wins this seat, she will pose threat to her presidency in 2029, something which he's not sleeping for. So that's his major fear, and they are putting all sort of mechanism in place to ensure that she loses. But I'm not sure Honorable Koga is the one that orchestrated that fight. But I will do my own check. But I'm sure the MGR is doing this not only because it favors Honorable Koga, but it also favors Jeremiah Kuhn, because trust me, if Edith does not contest, Kuhn will feel relief. He will have a space to breathe. So that's how I see it.
Great. Victor, J. Victor Namwe. Today, ECOWAS, the community court, notified Liberian government to respond to the $10 million US lawsuit filed by the suspended NAFA Director General Emma Glasgow. Here we go again. We, for some reason, Sarah, put the mute. For some reason, Liberia can't fight her way out of a wet garbage bag, not even garbage bag, a wet paper bag. We are in the news on the international level for the wrong reason. Now, Emma Glasgow, we knew where was this headed. And her representation, Kabina Jana, somebody who is very known to the court, is taking her there and saying, ladies and gentlemen, what they did to me, they are doing it to this woman. And now the court have notified Liberia. Your take on this?
Well, quickly before I go there, let me tell my young brother here, Cyrus. I supported the CPP. I supported Mr. Ellis Cummings' candidacy. I'm not an elite, so I don't know if the CPP is of the elitist class. I'm not sure about that.
Man, you're from Kipamos, man. You're elitist. Don't come here and hide it. We know you.
But I can tell you this: of the spectrum of the candidates we had on the spectrum, I believe Mr. Cummings provided the best chance for Liberia out of the quagmire that we're in now. I'm not going to tell you whether the voters are having a buyer's remorse now. I'm sure we've seen it all around us. We also have something to say about the results of the elections, how it is that the percent that is being allotted to us was allotted to us. But that is going to be another topic for another day. Coming back to the ECOWAS thing, I don't know. I'm still trying. I read up on the reporting. I don't have the detail, but I think she's claiming that she wasn't accorded due process. That is something that this government seems to be suffering from. The ability to accord people, their day in court. We've seen them, suspend someone, and while the investigation is ongoing, they go right ahead and appoint someone in their place. And then the question is, well, suppose the investigation clears this person, then what do you do? Because you already have appointed someone in their place. So it really is confusing. But our government also has a history of not complying with ECOWAS ruling. There are a lot of cases that have come out of the court. The Kabina Jana himself, who is lawyering from her, had a judgment rendered in his favor that the WIA government refused to honor. There is a Nesido, judgment that several governments, I believe, if it's not Elling, and also WIA, have not, honored. So I don't know if Miss Glasgow is the judgment, whatever it is, turns out to be in her favor. I'm not sure, whether she will be made whole. But it is concerning the way the government is terminating and replacing people, and all of that. People with tenure, they will move on them, and then some of them will sue. So maybe, we're looking at we're looking at what happened at the National Bank, the central bank. So maybe Ms. Glasgow might fall in that category where they suspended Talu, made a hulu balu about it, bring in some more, and then they called Talu behind the house and begin to pay him what they were supposed to pay him. So maybe Ms. Glasgow herself will get paid behind the house. I mean, $10 million, I think, is a substantial amount. Even if she had stayed in that job for the next 20 years, I don't think she would have made, $10 million. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But again, these are unforced errors that this government is making. They have all the advisors in the mansion, from the political advisor to the legal advisor, to every advisor, and yet, they can't seem to get it together. They keep making all of these avoidable, self-inflicted wounds. So yeah, Miss Glasgow is going to sue, and I'm sure she will probably be awarded. I think the judgment might come in her favor, given the way she was removed. I'm not sure she was according to due process. I believe the board. I'm not sure if I'm not confusing her with Rosalind, but I think the board this time may have recommended this removal. I have to check my facts. So if that is what happened, then I think the government might have a good case against her, but I doubt that's what happened.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reintroduce our panelists. Welcome to the closing argument here. I am Jerome Gamer. I am the guest host, and I'm sitting in for the chief, Tomalin George. And with me is J. Victor Name from the progressive wing of the Liberian politics in the cause of the people. He said the struggle continues, and it's been continuing, and will continue, and he will continue to fight. And then the far upper right is Mr. Cyrus D. Dakwan. That's my younger brother from Nimba. He's our incoming lawyer, and he's studying presently in Rwanda. And also our opinionated Mr. Sidiki, one of the most brilliant minds I have met since I've been on here. Are you also in Rwanda? What are you studying in Rwanda?
Yes, I'm in Rwanda. I'm doing international relations.
International relations, excellent. So people like these great young minds will hopefully polish our image someday on the international level. As it is now, it looks like ECOWAS lived in our heads, live in our houses, live in the upper house, lives in the home of the executive, and they're in and out of Liberia. They are coming back again. And Sarah Dopo, our health specialist here, I think she's out of Delaware, aren't you? There you go, welcome. Now let's go. Take yourself on mute. Now that we have reintroduced ourselves, let's go.
I am in Delaware.
Okay, you are in Delaware. Now let's go to Madam Glasgow here. If we are not talking, please mute. Let's go to Madam Glasgow here. A Kehleboe young woman, very, very progressive. When she took over the fishery, it was absolutely nothing. Nobody wanted that position per se. She brought it to what it is, international standards. She winning all these $42 million grants, $30 million grants. She's doing all of these things. All of a sudden, it has become such an attractive department.
Right.
And instead of doing the right thing by saying you got 2 more years left on your contract, we will wait you out, do your stuff, and professionally exit the same. They have decided to shortchange her, and she feels she cannot fight the system in Liberia because she wouldn't win, so she took them outside of the system. Your take? Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, as usual, I would say, deja vu. That's how it goes with this government. They have been doing this from day one. They even started with the people at the LTA up to this point. I don't think they have been reinstated. They did that to a lot of other institutions. And the sad part about Emma's case is, they kind of, in my opinion, I think they kind of fooled her. They kind of made it look like, pretended like, she was okay, everything was good. She went on, doing her job and everything. I think she met with the president a couple of times. We saw a picture of that on Facebook. And I don't know what happened because she showed up with the protein at the proteins program. I don't know whether that's what triggered her replacement or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, they didn't do her good. They did not do her good. Okay, and they went ahead and replaced her with one of their partisans because this is the trend. Their partisans don't have jobs. They go around taking people out of position just to have them, put their partisans in position. And at the end of the day, they violated her rights, and she has a right, and she's pursuing that right. What even struck me most is the guy that they replaced, that replaced her. He went to the university to go turn over a project that she worked on, and did not even give her did not even take into consideration that she did it, and did not even give her any respect to say, to elude that project to her whatsoever. He went ahead and took credit by himself. And thankfully, the university president recognized Emma as the one who did that project. There's a video out there that shows that when she was giving her speech about that fishery project at the university, she did recognize Emma's hard work, which was a good thing. So I just want to say kudos to Emma. Let her go ahead and fight for her right. Knowing this government who they are, I don't know what's going to come out of it, but I know ECOWAS will take a stand, and at the end of the day, the world will be a judge. But she has her right, and that the right thing to do is to pursue that right. Thank you.
Great. Sidiki, you are today I'm going to appoint you as the man with the shoe polish to pre-polish our international image, right? And then I will bring the lawyer in here. So it's your job now to clean this thing up to make us look good. You know, when my suit look nice, you got to tell me how to do it. But here we are. Last week we were at the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, everything you have done, you have serious issue with procedural errors. Nobody is telling you you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Whatever it is you want to do, there are procedure. It is written in your own manual. Follow the procedure. Here we are. This government has a procedural problem. Here is Joseph Boyka. You want to remove this woman, there is a process, there is a procedure. Procedure said she's a contractual citizen employee. She's employed for X amount of years. Her contract still had 2 years on it. The procedure is you wait her out. Her term expires, you don't renew her contract, and she goes free. Your second option is you can buy her out, which is also legal. But you don't none of those. You decided to come up with something called investigation, that her behavior in communicating with her board of directors is not what you expected. So you're going to fire her for not for violating, not for corruption, but for her behavior on the job. So here she is. Liberia has a procedural issue. We have a procedural problem. The Supreme Court has said it over and over and over. Your take, sir, polish it for this. Joseph Boyka need to pay you to polish this thing up to make him look good. How will you do that?
Yeah, first of all, it's unfortunate, but let me first respond to my brother Cyrus, and I'll just take like 5 seconds to do that. So Cyrus, since I came on the show, I've never mentioned Mr. Cummins. I've never mentioned
you got witness. You got witness right here.
We've been talking about voter education, how our people should vote in Liberia. And so if you feel offended because the party you support, and that's how people like you have been voting in the country without certain principle, just following anybody, I don't think I will owe anybody apologies for that. And talking about Cummins being an elite, you need to come down to the common people. Look, my brother, the presidency is not Cummins' inheritance. Cummins wants to be president to give us a better Liberia for all Liberians, whether people who support him and people who don't support him. And so if Liberians, both home and abroad, don't understand from that perspective, and whenever we are having conversation like this, and you can say, you sound like kind of threatening, that's just for nothing. If Cummins not be president, that's okay. We all will live with it, brother. So just what I wanted to share with you. Nobody's talking about Cummins here. So now to this topic, again, it is unfortunate, Jerome. There's just something I wanted to bring to all of your attention. Since the LACC, and I made a post a few weeks ago asking if Mountain Collie actually worked for the LACC. Because all the people with this government, and particularly President Boyka, been suspended from his administration through the LACC, invitation, they've all been raised by Mountain Collie. The LACC as an institution have not called anybody out, without Mountain Collie doing a prior post. This lady to I don't know how you call it, Rosie Dennis.
No car.
Yeah, no car. Mountain raised that issue. Emma Glasgow, Mountain College. Mountain College was on this woman back, and one got to the disaster management, Anzu Dole, and the rest of the people. And what interesting to understand is that all the people they've been inviting, every time investigation is ongoing, they can't come and say those people they are guilty of the crime, or they can't come and say those people they are innocent. Investigation. The first thing the president wake up and say he suspend 400 government officials. How in Liberia you will suspend 400 government officials and the government still operating? And they came out recently. They said, "Oh, the money of those suspended officials will go to some high school chairs, project."
One child, one chair.
Very, very unrealistic, fake. And this is wrong. And now Iman too run to the ECOWAS code, knowing fully well that yes, it's okay to protect your reputation. I'm not saying she's not supposed to do it. It's okay to do that. But again, that lawsuit she filed against the government of Liberia is also unrealistic. $10 million. They're not going to pay you that money. Even the ECOWAS code rule in your favor, they're not going to pay you. Cabinet Johnny, the CDC government, have they been able to settle Cabinet Johnny? No. And the good thing is, Cabinet Johnny is not getting the money out of the CDC because all the issue they get are the American run to represent them as a lawyer. And we cannot move forward with this kind of hypocritical mindset. And I'm sorry, I don't even know why ECOWAS is wasting our time. For me, I see that as a waste of time. Liberia, over the past year, we've never listened to ECOWAS. Cabinet felt disenchanted and went there. They never listened to him. We had a crisis in the legislature, specifically in the House of Representatives. They sent a delegate. Those people, they came there. They never listened to them. And now Iman is running, going there. I don't even know what difference it's going to make. So I just think it's a waste of time. She may likely win because it's illegal. All the people, they suspend from this place, or LTA. What are the investigations? What are the results? The central bank, all those places. But nothing will come out of it. It is all political because your parties don't have job. And some other parties, they get beat more. They say they are educated. When you are educated, government job is not something that you should rely on. When you're not getting it, you got to fight for it. You also, the chairman of the Unity Party, Luther Tappe, he called himself Reverend. When the UP took over just a few months, he didn't get a job he wanted. They made organized partisans. That was so disgraceful to go to the president to protest because they're not getting a job. And so maybe that's the kind of pressure they're putting beyond the president. And so now, they are compared to move people from tenure position to certify the partisan. This is wrong. You don't do this. And after all, it is the Liberian people that should be standing up to say, look, this is wrong. How many people came up in Liberia and say the removal of the speaker was illegal? And so we are standing up against it. But the only thing that catches the whole intention of the country are the branding of the capital building. Everybody talking capital building point. No, nobody. A country cannot get on the red path when the rule of law is not respected. We have to respect the rule of law. Not everybody will say, I leave my own to God. You hear some people, they go to the court, they can get redress, and they are right. They're not going to let it go. People got different way of be acting. And so that's my own take. It's just a waste of time. Ima, I think the kind of lawsuit she files is very unrealistic. She's not going to get money. She's not going to get $10 million out of the government. It's a waste of time. It's even unreasonable. If the government actually gave her $10 million, then I think she too she's being unpatriotic. Because how can you want $10 million, a struggling country like Liberia? For me, that's just my point. They wrong her, but I think her reaction is sending a different kind of message. Yeah. Yeah, Miller.
Let me go to the young lawyer in waiting. Cyrus, in these United States where we are, when someone wrong you, whether they hit your car, you are suing for damages, right? It could be psychological, your public profile, your that you have worked for over 30, 40 years, somebody damages by firing you, okay, without cause. They didn't say we fired you because you are incompetent, you stole. They just got up one day and say, you go to your office and your assistant is sitting in your chair and say, you know, you are no longer working. That's not how it's supposed to work. How do you quantify that? Somebody could tell you that, listen, my image, what I have worked for over the years, is worth $1 billion. Who are you to say, hey, the fee you are assessing is too much for the rest of your life? $10 million is too much. And the woman could say, my over the rest of my life, I got 30 more years to work. I could make $10 million. I could be a consultant. I could have a business. But now that my reputation is tarnished, I can no longer make a living. So I access, Mr. Lawyer, if I came to you and said somebody damaged me, I think from now till I die, the money I would be making, or I could have made the $10 million. I want the government to pay me $10 million. Is she wrong for suing?
No, she's not. She's not. You know, maybe Nikki is speaking from a patriotic point of view. He's not also taking into consideration the something is sounding.
Can you speak a little louder?
Something is sounding.
Yeah, I think it's your background. Can you go out and come back in?
It's for him.
Yeah, it's for him. Go and come back in. Mr. Nyenwolo, you have worked for your reputation professionally, morally. Your character is impeccable. If Jerome Gamer just come and does something to you that embarrasses you, your family, your reputation, international reputation, isn't it right for you to take me or closing argument to court and say, you know what? My future earnings have been impacted by what this man said about me. My families are struggling to face the public. My children go to school. They are calling their names. The kids are bullying them because of what these people did to me. And I think for the next 40 years, I'm going to be working, possibly working. I think $10 million is enough because there's no guarantee that I can repair or make my reputation whole. You don't think Emma Glasgow has a point?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it is within her right to seek, remedy through the courts. And let me push back a little bit on Siddiqui here, and I don't disagree with him that there are a number of decisions that have been handed down by ECOWAS that our governments have not heeded. But that doesn't mean that those decisions are not there. Some government's continuity. We all know that. The decision has been rendered and they're there. I am sure some government somehow that will come in probably after this government, or if this government does not honor that, some government will have to do so. So yes, I don't think it is for nothing. Is the $10 million exorbitant? I don't know the details of this complaint. But yes, you're right, Jerome. Whenever you go to court, you don't only sue on the basis of the injustice. You sue for other things, including pain and suffering, as well as your future earnings and all of that. So yeah, if you total all of that, the court will determine whether in fact the amount that she's suing for, it meets the weight of the grievance that she's lodging. But yeah, I think it is within her right to go to court. Why is she going to court? Because our government refuses to ever do anything according to the law. I think that's where we should focus. I don't think we should direct our disappointment or frustration at the plaintiff. Why is it that our government, this current government, has so much difficulties, doing anything according to the law, especially employment and termination? Why? I think that's where those are the questions we should be asking. She's alleging she wasn't given due process, among other things. So they have 30 days to go in there and file. If they don't, judgment will be rendered, in absenteeism, and that is even going to be worse. So I hope they will meet the 30 days and respond, and hopefully they'll go and make the case. But on the face of it, it looks like she has a point. It'll be difficult to convince anybody that she was given due process. But again, like I said, we don't have the details. So let's leave that to the court. As to whether she had any business going to the court, absolutely. I think she was within her right to go and file a complaint. Now, the point that Siddiqui is making is something that is noteworthy too. I think we intentionally have kind of made relations with ECOWAS kind of sour. They've come here twice to help us resolve, our impasse at the Capitol building, and they've left empty-handed. There's some degree of pride there. I think that is coming into play. I won't be surprised if that interferes with, this case so that it goes against the government. We know ECOWAS here through the ECHO mark. Many of us are alive today. So they now know, just stand by and do nothing about it. They've helped us. I don't understand why we've not accorded them in recent times the courtesy that they deserve. The first time they came, they will report the president did not even want to meet with them. And other people leaned in before they met. They went empty-handed. They came back the second time. We heard reports that the 43 refused to meet with them because they believed the protocol was not observed. Kun was not called speaker, whatever that is. So, yeah, I mean, there's some amount of ego bruising that we have to acknowledge on the part of ECOWAS. So I hope it doesn't, have, these agencies, they have compartments. I'm sure the judicial part of ECOWAS and the parliament, they're two separate. But again, they talk to each other. So, we'll see what happens.
Great. A shout out to 107.9 Hot FM and 96.1 Truth FM in Liberia. Thank you guys for doing a great job. Ms. Dopo, real quick, can you tell us briefly about your profession? What is it that you do for a living?
Oh, I'm a licensed practical nurse.
Excellent. Now, here we are. You are a licensed practical nurse. You make a lot of money. I have a friend here. I have my neighbor here that is a traveling nurse, right? She's an RN. She's a traveling nurse. And during the COVID period, was that COVID? Yeah, COVID-19 period, she got a contract in Houston and she was making like $15,000 per week. So for that year, she said she brought in a little over $400,000 per year. Someone of your caliber, the kind of money you make, if I came in, because your license is predicated on your reputation, on your lifestyle, on things you do. If I came and tarnish your reputation as a nurse who is responsible for saving lives and your profession and your care all in one, for the rest of your life, can you say you can sue me and you think $10 million is enough?
I think $10 million is small. I mean, I listened to Siddiqui and I heard what he's saying that her lawsuit was her lawsuit, the figure is not unrealistic. First of all, you can't sit on this platform and determine that because you don't know the details of her lawsuit. Whether she's having some prorated figures or a lot of things involved in her lawsuit. So for me personally, and I understand where he's coming from, knowing the kind of government we have, I understand, but still, that doesn't mean it's possible that if she wins her lawsuit, they could, negotiate to settle with an amount. But that is the amount that she knows that she has to get for the kind of way the regulatory way that they treated her rights were violated and stuff like that. So I personally don't think that amount is too much. I think it should be even more than that. I mean, but again, looking at the country we have, I can understand where he's coming from. But still, at the end of the day, like I said, government is continuity. If she wins her lawsuit, somebody might come in and say, hey, we know the previous government, they didn't treat you right, but this is what we can settle for, and they can go for a deal.
Great. Our young lawyer, Cyrus, welcome back. When you listen to Ms. Brzezinski on the air, Morning Joe, welcome back. She has they have a show for women, a symposium. They say women know your self-worth, know how much you are worth, professionally, morally know your worth. So this woman knows her worth. Emma Glasgow knows her worth. She is saying, for the rest of my life that have been damaged, I think I'm worth $10 million. And Siliki is saying it is unreasonable, but this woman knows her worth. Knowing your self-worth is the most important thing when you are going to do anything. She said $10 million is her self-worth for the damage caused to her career, her reputation. As a lawyer, I'm coming to you. What will you do?
Yeah, again, like I said, her claim is genuine to me. Sidiki's opinion is just his opinion. Um, One thing he should take into consideration, this is becoming a normal culture for the Joseph Boyka government. You know, they are not respecting tenure. Um, he was in the Senate when the tenure law was passed. I think he affixed his signature to the document. So if anybody should respect the tenure law in Liberia, it should be President Boyka. But the opposite has been happening since um, he came to power, and as a result, um, almost all of the autonomous agencies in Liberia, you have acting. So if you have autonomous agency and people are acting in those positions, how then do you expect partners to take the country serious? So this is something very major. But the legal aspect of it, what I can speak to eloquently is the issue of whether or not ECOWAS has jurisdiction over the matter. Because most of the time, when the UP government, pursues illegal action against people, and when they seek redress from court through court processes, you hear the very UP supporters saying this branch should not interfere. These other people should not interfere. And the speaker issue in the country concerning the so-called majority bloc and Fanati, now their only argument is the judiciary should not interfere in legislative matter. You know. So now I'm thinking if they will not be talking about ECOWAS interfering with Liberia internal issue, and one of the questions I've been asking myself, because I'm not too familiar with ECOWAS justice system procedures, if there are processes, domestic processes that need to be exhausted, before you proceed there further. I don't know. I've been asking myself since she filed the lawsuit. I've been asking if there are processes that needed to be followed domestically. I can't really speak to that because I'm not familiar with ECOWAS procedure. But with the amount she's claiming, I think Liberia is now a poor country. The citizens try to make it look like Liberia is poor, but Liberia is not poor. The folks in government knows that Liberia is rich, and their families, enjoy every day. They they have luxurious lifestyle. The properties. Somebody can be suffering in a community, and the moment a person gets government job, 1 month is too huge. You see, the person will change suddenly. The person will become like somebody from America. You'll see them shining, riding luxurious cars. You'll see their homes will change overnight. So Liberia is not a poor country as we think. So, Madam Glasgow, I wish you well. I wish you all the best. Her claim is genuine. If in fact the amount she put on a rate, I think is less. She should have even made it 20 million, because that would make them to be thinking that violating people's rights does something. It does harm to them. you know, they will be afraid. But if we continue to say the amount is huge, the first thing is whether or not they are going to respect whatever ruling the ECOWAS will make. I feel for the folks, the young folks in the Unity Party, because the record today that all of them are sitting enjoying, the president is violating every single law we have in the country. It will hunt them tomorrow. It will hunt them tomorrow, because today I expect those very young guys around the president to say, Mr. Boyka, Your Excellency, you this law, you were the one who presided on this law, and you are not trying to respect the law. So, for our sake, because they have future, this president has lived his life. Like I said the other time, he has nothing to lose. So they should be the ones, they who have future should be the ones to advise the president to do the right thing. But instead, they are sitting, clapping their hands. Reverend Luther Tapper and Senator Moy were seen on camera moving from one ministry, from one agency to another with Unity partisans names, on a paper. When they get to people agencies that are occupied, legally occupied, remove people from their offices, and that's how they have been proceeding. So what if tomorrow, when the 6 year ends, another person comes and travel on the same unlawful path? How do we expect our country to move forward? So I feel for the young people who are clapping their hands today, because this very thing, Mr. Games, 5 or 6 years from now, we will be on this very show or on another platform. You will hear the Unity Party folks complaining, they will be crying, and by that time, they will have forgotten all of the things the president is doing to others today. I want to stop on this note.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the closing argument. We got two more subjects here real quick before we go. We got a little over 30 minutes to go. We got the subject with the Council of Churches that have been back and forth with the suspension, denial, public statement. The Council of Churches, some letter came out, they condemned the opulence of the president by buying these $1 million vehicle while people are dying. And the Council of Churches came out and said, no, we did not condemn the president. Please don't put our hand in your thing there. And then they came back and said, no, you said it. So finally, the president of the Liberian Council of Churches came out. He finally broke his silence. Dr. Reed, we'll talk about that. But before we go, there's a pressing issue in Liberia, breaking news here, because it's not political. More people are not paying attention to it. The Liberian Medical and Dental Council, LMDC, in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, has shut down the Lofa Medic Service Clinic after a 30-year-old man, Samuel P. Colley, died from an unauthorized surgical procedure. The Lofa Medic Services Clinic is located in Nizo, Jacobtown, Painesville, Liberia. Preliminary finding revealed that Nyenwolo, the clinic administrator and an operation room technician, further presented himself as a medical doctor and performed the surgery, appendectomy, that led to Colley's death. The procedure is the removal of the appendix. The appendix is found in the colon on the lower right side of the belly. In response, the Liberia Medical and Dental Council ordered the clinic immediate closure and handed Woluba over to the Liberia National Police for investigation. I brought this up because we have a medical person on staff. Sarah, this is now becoming a commonplace. A guy who works in an office just put up, he has observed doctors doing surgery all the time. So he internalized it that he can do this. Put on a white gown and just begin to take off somebody's appendix. This is happening regularly now in Liberia. Your take on this, what should we do?
Mr. Gilman, I think I follow that story, and I was listening to a couple of people or reading some comments of other people that were also victims of this guy. Okay, I mean, it's just so sad. It's just so sad. I mean, we have gone down this road for so many years now. A lot of things have happened. This is not the first instance. A lot of other things, people are just fronting in our place as medical doctors, as this, as that. It's just horrible. I who sitting here can never go to Liberia and tell anybody say I'm a doctor. I cannot. I can never go to Liberia in front because I'm here working as a nurse, so I have to go to my country and act like, oh yeah, I can do this. No, it's just wrong. I don't know how these people feel when they do these things, but it's wrong. And I'm happy that they were able to close whatever clinic that he has down. And I don't know. I think I heard he's on the run. That's what I heard. And I don't know whether they're going to find him or not.
No, Sarah, you are talking about Mr. Kamara. That is a different one. That's the one that did the surgery on the woman.
Oh yeah. The Kamara one. Yeah, I think that's
to remove a fibroid. This is a new one. This one is appendix surgery. This one just happened. This is a more recent one.
Oh my God. I don't know. It's I mean, any way you do it, anyway it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And Mr. Gilman, to tell you the truth, I think our health ministry or whoever responsible for all of this, they need to really beef up their efforts in order to make sure that they crack down on some of these people. I mean, like in local communities where you have these clinics and things, what is the procedure? What is the system in place for people to even have clinics? I mean, are they double checking on some of these things to see and to have a task force? They need a task force in the communities, in these communities, to just make sure whether some of these things are on par. Whoever is opening this clinic, are they medical personnel? Do they have the requisite training? That kind of thing. I understand some of these communities, people want to help. But if you are not qualified to help, you're just going to kill a lot of people. So the health ministry should have a task force in place to visit these communities, and know that you have a backing from the government, because some of these people will be resistant. They'll be resisting these things. Have a backing from the government. Get into these communities. Get a profile or a number of people that have clinics in this community. Know what are they qualified. What are they serving our people in these communities? I give you an example. My sister was ill. She had diabetes. So I was here when her daughter called me and said that, her sugar was high. So I asked her, how do you know the sugar was high? She said she took her to a local clinic in the area. So I was on the phone with them when she took her to the local clinic. When they got there, I told her, I said, tell the lady, whoever is in the clinic, to check her sugar first. She said, oh, they gave her. I said, don't let them get her drip. Do not let them get her drip. Let them check her sugar. Let them check her blood pressure first to see what her numbers are. So they went ahead and did that. When they did that, her blood sugar was really high. Her blood sugar was really high. So I told her, I asked the lady, I said, do you have the requisite qualification to administer her anything like any medication to her, like blood sugar medication? She said no. So I told my niece they had to transfer her to Cali Hospital. They had to transfer her that night to Cali Hospital. And blessedly for us, when she went to Cali Hospital, that's how they were able to stabilize her. So a lot of these things are happening in the community. People want to help, but they don't have the requisite knowledge and they don't have the tools to work with. So if our health ministry can just do our people that service to do a tracking of some of these things in the community, get to know who some of these people are, so that they can get trained, it will help. It will definitely help.
Right. Siddiqui, with all what's happening, will you blame the first lady for not going to this kind of clinic and going to abroad and getting better or the best that life has to offer that money can buy? Even though people say, if you're not fixing the system here, you're taking the money to another country and getting the best medical care, and then so here we are. People are dying in Liberia, and the first lady is getting first-hand, first-class medical service somewhere else at the expense of the government.
Look, Mr. Gilman, at the beginning of this topic, I hear you mention that something is happening in Liberia because it's not political. people are not paying attention to it. But what I want you to understand is that, this is political. It is political. And why it is political? Everything we do, and this is why it's important that Liberians start to check people, because the kind of leaders we elect, it gave us the kind of hospital we go to, the kind of food we eat, the kind of road we drive on to go to work or go to school, and everything that got to do with us as human beings. And this is very, very concerning, Mr. Gayman. Just a few weeks ago, we heard a similar story like this to ELW Hospital. And Mountain Colley had to do a fundraiser and had the president flew all over the country to go for advanced treatment. And even before that incident to ELW Hospital, a young man lost his life. A young footballer who went there and they did something, some wrong treatment on him, and he passed off. And that was a foreign data at the ELW Hospital. And so this is really, really concerning. A young brother of mine lost his life like a month ago. He was playing in the first division league, and then they said he was playing, he sustained injury, ankle injury or whatever. They took him to Cali Junction. There's a hospital at Cali Hospital, and they said there was no equipment to do the operational surgery, running up and down JFK and all of that. So they recommended that they take this guy to Ghana. And then, I don't know, the team too had an issue with getting him flight ticket. So they put him on a bus, and this guy died in Africa while on the road going to Ghana. So this is very serious. And everything has to do with the kind of governance, the kind of president we elect. And we will continue to say this. You can't keep playing with the lives of millions of people, because at the end of the day, when it happened, like you said, Mr. Gayman, of course the foreign leader will be out of the country to go for treatment. But how many Liberians can get on a plane, get a ticket when they are sick to get out of the country to go for treatment, advanced treatment? How many? Even the government officials, the president, they don't even trust the hospitals in Liberia. But the ordinary people, anything about the ordinary people, they are not concerned about that. That the fact that the people who elect, we give them job, when they are sick, they don't go to these places. But when we are sick, we go there. Our life is at risk. They are not concerned. And they should be concerned, because this is very serious. And I hope, closing down clinics should not be the solution. People should pay for these things. Because when you kill someone, they're not coming back to life. Somebody in a family, like maybe that guy was a source of his family. You don't know, and you've taken his life forever and ever. He's not going to come back simply because of your own negligence. But again, everything has to do with leadership. We need the right leadership to put things into place that when things happen like this, people can be held accountable. Trust me, Mr. Gayman, in 6 months, 5 months to come, that clinic will be reopened and it will start operation. That's like right there.
Thank you. Mr. Sanvee, I know you're on your way to Liberia. You've been to Liberia recently. I was there for 5 weeks. My only prayer was, Lord, I shouldn't get sick here. One of the things that my wife made sure, every time I'm going to Liberia, I have a flight insurance. That means if anything happens to me, I get on the immediate next flight. We don't have to wait for a ticket. No. Any flight available, I am leaving. That's what my insurance calls for, and I pay for that every time I go. If I go with SM Brussels, I do not have to wait for SM Brussels to come next Wednesday. The following flight, any flight available, I'm leaving the country. So I'm advising everybody, when you go into Liberia, talk to your travel agent. Let them give you that insurance. Or buy your open-ended ticket. It costs a little more, but it may save your life where you can fly out of there. So, Mr. Sanvee, here we are. And this brings me to, we who grew up in the interior, right? We used to have these guys come around. They wore their white suit. They had a bag, and we used to call
It's frozen.
Yeah, I found out that most of the people were not even they were not even CNAs. They saw a doctor doing this thing at the Lamco hospital or the government hospital, and they decided to come in the interior and do the same thing. They were circumcising all these boys. So here we are in Monrovia now. This guy working in the doctor's office, he has seen this doctor perform this surgery, and the doctor is no longer around. Somebody with an appendix problem. He said, you know what? I saw the guy do it, I can do it. And he went to try. He attempted to do it, and the young man died. Now he's in police custody. People are saying these are the things that the government should be addressing. Instead, the first lady flew to a better place. Not only is she flying there, but the money that she's using, which is basically transferring wealth from Liberia to Ghana, wherever it is, for the amount of time she's going to be there. And hospitals don't even have CNAs.
Yeah, I mean, looks like someone didn't like what you were saying. You were harmonized there for a minute. So,
No.
but listen, and for the reasons that almost everyone has given here, from our legal personnel on set to our brother Sidiki. I'm not sure Cyrus has chimed in, but it is and bless you, good for you. You have that option, to keep that option in your back pocket. And the first lady has that option to be to medevac or whatever it is, how she got out. But how many of our people have that option available to them? The majority of people don't have that option available to them. And this is why when we say it doesn't make sense that the top five people in our government, the president, the vice president, the speaker, the deputy speaker, and the president pro tem, they bring in $14 million, and all of the hospitals combined, they give them 9 million. These are some of the things that we're talking about. So again, we have our priorities upside down, and this is not rocket science. The evidence is right before our eyes. We're living it. We're seeing it every day. So you don't need any kind of think tank or some kind of research group to go and sit in some corner and come and tell you what the problems are and how you're feeling in attacking them. But yeah, and these things will continue to happen until we apply the brakes, recalibrate, and reorder our priorities. The first lady can go to Ghana or wherever, good for her. How many people can even go from Logan Town to Fiaman, when they're sick, or go to JFK? Not many people have that option. They go to the nearest clinic in the neighborhood because that's what they can afford. That's where the car pay can take them. So I agree. Sarah alluded to the certification process, and then the continuous inspection of these places. I think that will help too. Far too many of our people, continue to lose their lives because they found a way to play the system. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody anywhere where they practice medicine by apprenticeship. The fact that you've been watching the doctor do it, and then, but it can happen in LIB. Yeah. So yeah, it is sad, it's scary. It's not funny, but you have to chuckle sometimes the kind of things we do and get away with in Liberia.
Thank you. Our incoming lawyer, we got 20 minutes to close. We want you to close on this, and then we want you to begin with the Council of Churches. This whole thing came about because a guy by the name of Theophilus Yodi Henson, he called himself a concerned citizen and Christian of Liberia, wrote a letter about the condemnation of the opulence of this car that the president used, and everybody cheered the Council of Churches for finally standing up and speaking against opulence. Then the Council of Churches came out and said, no. Don't put word in our mouth. We never did that. And then they said that the chairman, Dr. Rees, was suspended. Dr. Rees had just broken his silence and say that letter, whatever it was fake news. He was never suspended. So here we are. You got two things here to discuss real quick. We got 20 minutes. You ended the topic on, are you, thank God you're not a medical doctor or you're not pretending to be one. This thing about people dying in Liberia, everybody operating, not just regular giving somebody talent. No, we're talking about operation here, major stuff. Your take on this, sir?
Thank you, sir. I think we had this conversation the last time, and I speak to the fraudulent activity the couple carry out at the University of Liberia, and because certain people in Liberia are under certain protections, so based on the happenings in the country, because people are moving around with impunity, so others use that same path to make money because there is no deterrence set out to the public to make people afraid. We when we had this conversation. This was my stance, and again, I still maintain it though. But with the issue of health, I think is troubling. Our people are just living by the grace of God. It is troubling, and I expect President Barker and his family to do more than that. Maybe our people made mistake, and for me, I honestly pray that President Weah comes back. I pray Mr. Cummings wins the Monserrato seat in 2029, so he can replace President Weah in the future when he leaves the presidency, because this thing is about leadership, and the fact that we are getting to know that Mr. Cummings has some quality of a leader. I think we should try him, and by trying him, he can begin in the Senate like President Weah did. This is not about looking down on anybody, and it is not about bigotry. Some people will say the position is small. There are too many great people who started in the legislature, and today they are up there. Ellen travel on that path. We are dead. Anybody can do so. So I mean, I really pray he wins the senatorial of Monserrato, so we can try him too to see how things goes. But real quick, the medical issue in the country, I think the Ministry of Health needs to be very serious about it this time. They need to have a task force to be going across the country to do country tour, because this thing is not only unique to Monserrato. From my perspective, I think it is something that is happening now across the country, but it apparently it has not been reported from other countries, so it is not coming to public knowledge. So I mean, the Ministry of Health should form a task force to go across the country to ensure that those people involved with activities of such be prosecuted, be brought to justice, and the fake licenses they are operating under should be revoked. By that, when people are seen in a court being prosecuted and sentenced, I mean, others who are also in such practice will be afraid. But in fact, if the president, like I said the other time, if the president has dismissed Dog Cooper and sent him for impersonation and sent him to court to face justice for impersonation, but now those medical practitioners would not even be doing those things. But people seeing Dog Cooper under VP protection, he working with impunity, he earning millions of dollars from impersonation and things like that. Today, everybody is hustling in a country. You can't use human life to hustle. It's something wrong. I mean, it's something sad. But again, because the system is like that, something that President Barker criticized when he was in opposition, I will not do that. I will not go to Ghana. I will improve the system. Has he done so? And for President Weah, I think we have things to show. The Emirates Hospital, the 14 Military Hospital. He built a lot of medical facilities across the country, and they criticized everything, every single thing the president did. And today, I had thought President Parker will even be thinking about building hospital in Lofa, at least Lofa, even if it is not anywhere, Lofa, you know. But that's not the case. I mean, we should be praying for Mr. Cummings to come someday so that we can taste from his leadership wisdom. To the issue of the church or the council of churches, I think that group should be dissolved. They are not serious minded people. They are fake. Those guys continue to use God's name to hustle. And it is something wrong. They are more political than the name. The nomenclature is just meant to deceive. You know, you can use God's name to hustle. They called them Council of Churches. Yesterday, when President Weah was in power, they were so proactive. You could see them, they were vigilant, they were on time. Every wrong thing that happened, they made sure and issue statements, harsh statements, you know, and today their real color has unveiled itself. They were so political with everything yesterday, today. The guys have proven to be social hustlers. How is it that wrong things are happening in the country and people are criticizing those things on their behalf? They will come back to counter react, you know, to counter people who criticize on their behalf. It means they are hustlers. That group should be dissolved. They are not people to be taken seriously. They are mere bluff. I mean, they just use God's name. I hope some of them, you know, God shows himself to them so they can regret deceiving our people. You know, I hate to hear that name council of churches. I don't know where the churches are. Those fake churches in Morovia, everyday deliverance, vision, this, that. They are fake group of people. But again, I want to close on this note that Mr. Cummings, as people are always saying, he's cool, he's principle minded, he has leadership, charisma, you know, he's a man of God, you know, he's that Messiah Liberia needs. I pray the old man gets the Monserrato senatorial seat so we can begin from there. Maybe when President Weah leaves the presidency, we can try him. Thank you.
10 minutes to closing time, and the chief is here. We're going to go around the corner, do our closing, and then turn it over to Tomalin George so he can take over. Sarah, you got 1 minute to do your closing.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gilman. Thank you for the show. Thanks to all of our panelists on here. It was a great show, great discussion. A lot of diverse views, you know, on topics. But at the end of the day, you know, we are all Liberians and we want to see better for our country. So, you know, I hear from Sarah about Mr. Cummings and also, you know, people have different ambitions. You talk to the Mr. Cummings followers.
Sarah, can you mute, please?
You talk to Mr. Cummings followers, they will tell you something, you know, different from what you're saying. But at the end of the day, we all want better for Liberia. You know, that for me, that's my focus. Okay. I heard Sidiki saying, "Oh, you know, I stay hearing people talking about we are coming back." This and that. Of course, we has a right to come back, just as any candidate have a right to come back. Our country is a democracy. You cannot prevent or you cannot stop anybody from, you know, selling their candidate. You sell your candidate, I sell my candidate. At the end of the day, the Liberian people decide. We Liberian people have seen we as leadership. Liberian people are not seeing, they are now seeing broadcast leadership. You know, they have seen other leadership. At the end of the day, 2029, whoever, you know, they will favor best to come, that's it. Whatever your opinion is your opinion. It's not going to stop we are from running, or it's not going to stop, you know, Unity Party from putting up a candidate. It's going to happen regardless of your opinion. So when we come on here, my advice would be is for us to sell our candidate and start showing jobs our other candidate, because that is not going to hold water. It's not. Our people, our people want the best, and we all sat here for the last 6 years. We saw the tangible from the real government. The government was not perfect, but they did their part, and we are now seeing this government. At the end of the day, you know, 2029, the Liberian people will make that decision. So I just want to say thank you guys for the show. It was great, a lot of great discussion, and we move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Siddiqui, 2029, you can tell Cummings to take the seat in Monserrato so we can test him. You heard it right here. It's a breaking news. It's a challenge to you. That seat is yours. You take it and you prove yourself. The presidency is yours. If you don't do that, forget it. Go ahead, sir. You're closing 1 minute.
Yeah, but I think it was a great show. Thanks for the show. But look, Sarah, the first thing Sarah thought, the man laughing and said, I don't know why you laughing for. Yeah, the man thought after finish talking, he laughing and said. So that tells you that what the man say.
That is a great propagandist.
Talk your own, man.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point out something quickly. And Jerome, I don't know if you can remember, Sarah's talking about Mark education in Lima. I don't know if you can remember today. And he said the people should not vote for Mark because he's chasing associate degree. I don't know what is it. But again, Sarah's come by and say, yeah, Mr. Cummings got one guy in Lima that called Lawrence Swa, in just after education Benin. Then you get Mariah Yakula. She just says she educated. That's a contract.
Hold on 1 minute. Mr. George, can you flag that last? Can you flag that last statement by Mr. Joe Manjala, please? If
Mr. Who?
Joe Manjala. Can you put it up if you can get to it?
No,
yeah. He said we will rig the 2029 election to prevent terrible, reckless, and result Joe we are from coming back. So they say just because they hate Joe, they will steal the election. So you can go ahead, continue.
Wow.
Yeah, but again, yeah, it was a great show. But Sarah, you can't say they will not vote for somebody because they're not educated. Then you can't say the other men. All the main thing about education. That's a contradiction, brother. So I just hope you remember the things that you can be saying. About Mr. Cummings, we came on a show today. All the audience been watching the show. Nobody talking about Cummings here. I mentioned George Weah because George Weah have been president for my country for 6 years. And he did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And for Sarah to say, you sit in America, you live in America, to say, oh, President, we are our president for 6 years, we saw the tangible he did. What tangible? Hey, Sarah, let's stop this. People's life depends on this. People lost
For
their
the
life.
record, I'm not sitting in America. I'm living in America.
For
I'm
auditors.
sitting in America. I'm living in America.
Okay, you live in America.
It's condescending and it's rude. I will not take that. I'm living in America.
It's not condescending. To say you sit in America. So what is condescending about it?
We got 5 minutes now.
But Sarah,
the guys are truth effing half and they gotta go home. It's late in Liberia. Go 1 minute. Let's go.
Yes.
Don't be personal at me. I'm living in America. I'm sitting in America. That's what I'm trying to correct you on.
No, but what's the difference? Sitting in America and being in America. What's the difference? Can you please
There is a difference.
Siddiqui, this is not a CDC. This is not a CDC for the comments. This is closing argument. Go ahead, make your point.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jerome, I came on the show. If you can be fair on the show tonight. Nobody talking about Cummings yet. Nobody talking about ANC. If the Liberian people don't never vote for Cummings, that is up to you. I'm not Cummings. You understand? Because you see ANC, of course. I have no apologies to affiliate myself with the ANC or to support the ANC. No apologies for that. But when we come and talk, let's stick to the conversation or the topic. Jerome outlined all the topic we're having today. There's nothing there about Cummings' presidency or Cummings going for the Senate. If even me, Siliki, Cummings don't take instruction from me. I believe Cummings as a leader, whatever office is running for, I believe he's capable of making a difference in that office. And I will give him my support. So for you to come and say, you never believed the man before you said the man will go run for Senate. Because George was hustling. That's why he went to the Senate. Because he was hustling to get some money. But Cummings is not hustling. Cummings is okay. You see the difference? But I think it was a great show, and as always, but no personal attack to you, Sarah. I think, sitting in America and being in America, living in America, they're all the same. But nothing personal to you. At the end of the day, the Liberian people will be the judge. If they think George did something that they are missing, that they want to bring him back, 4 auditors die in a week, that bring people side of harmonize. And all those things can bring him back.
32 seconds over your 1 minute, man.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was a great show, actually.
Victor, now we're 1 minute.
So thank you very much. Great show, and thank you all. You really brought a lot to the table. Let me quickly go back to my young friend Cyrus. For full disclosure, I advise the CPP as a national campaign advisor, and I'll be honest, I still say, if you look on the spectrum of the candidates we had and the plans they put forth, Mr. Cummings got the best plan available yet in Liberia. Never mind that I'm from UPP, but I'm giving that to him. And to say he should go and run for the Senate, I don't hear you telling Councilor Gongloe to go and run in the by-election that's coming up. I think that's condescending as well. He came, he said he wants to be president, elect the man or leave him alone. Mr. Cummings is a classic example of why Liberian people will leave the best drinking spot and we'll go sit down in the zinc shop to go and enjoy our beer because that's where we're comfortable. I think we're afraid of competent, qualified people, and that's a problem. We're living it today. I'm not saying the current government is not qualified, but hey, let them show us the result they're producing. Where is the result? They've been there 12 months. George Weah was there 6 years. What did he do besides going to sit down in Jamaica or whatever they call that with Jerome and the rest of them and go and sip Henny? While the country was drowning in filth and misery. So, let's really be honest with ourselves here. Look, we're blessed, but we got our heads in a different place. We need to turn it around. So right now, everything we've spoken about so much is about addressing the plight, the social services of our people. Go to the airport, there's nothing there. You and I will fly through there all the time. How do you expect to take your bag up the escalator? It's not working. You go there, you're sweating bullets because the generator cannot provide enough power. Whereas we got 2 giant-sized generators sitting there. What is wrong with it? Now they're hopeless in the darkness. Let's talk about those. And I don't think anybody should be practicing business by apprenticeship. I think that's wrong. Again, it's about regulations. But, great show. We'll come here and do the best we can to, clarify the issues to our people. Hopefully, they will make informed choices. Let's see what happens in Nimba. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The Chief, George, is all yours.
I want to say thanks to everybody, man. Mr. Jerome, Mr. Yangbe, Sarah, Cyrus, I want to say thanks to you all very much for holding us. I mean, I don't know what all you guys, what would have happened to us because every one of us now we're so busy and so forth, we're so tied up. Yeah, so but at least you guys have stepped in to fill the gap for us. We appreciate it so much. And let me also say Eid Mubarak to all Muslims the world over. And for yesterday, breaking the fast, the whole Ramadan. I pray that Allah will receive your prayers and bless you all and our country. I know you guys pray for Liberia, especially Liberian Muslim. I want to say Eid Mubarak to all of the Muslims. We look forward to Abraham's Day coming, another celebration of the Muslim faith. We pray that all went well. All those who fasted, I know I have most of my Muslim friends. I celebrated with them too yesterday. Had a nice time with them. And, I would tell people when we're back in Firestone, our neighbor was Mr. Anjai. Mr. Anjai was a Muslim. About that time, that particular time coming, we'll make sure that time we eat enough to your house because it will spread the table for us to go and eat. We'll eat all the food there, the lamb, everything. So whenever I see this Muslim,
you were a Muslim for one day.
Oh yeah, we'll go there, wear that stuff, and have fun with them. But the Muslims, I respect them. They pray. They follow their faith a lot strongly. Not like me, strongly. I tell you, they pray religiously, and I give it to them. But also, it was the fire. I mean, the darkness at the airport was an embarrassment for us. And like I told somebody from the transport area in the government today, I said, until somebody can get fired, it will continue. I said, in America, when something of that nature happens, somebody is held accountable. Somebody got to get fired. I don't care what the person. And always you say the head will resign. You saw what happened even when Trump, the assassination attempt on Trump. The lady she fought it, but she had to resign. She stepped aside because there was some what happened. They put the blame on the Secret Service, and somebody had to step down. Anything that happens in any era of assignment, somebody got to be held accountable. But in Liberia, the issue of statement to say they play in darkness at 9 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock in the morning the light came back on, and that's all you say. And you know, and that's the president again. That's why it comes. The box stops with him, and it says that there is a lack of political will. That's why we're witnessing. Somebody should be held accountable. If President Barker fire somebody today or ask somebody to resign, trust me, we won't be. Then next time we won't experience such a thing. And that's why you see people are now going around and mocking them because of what happened. But we all of us that we travel to Liberia, so I be very. We can't just. It's not politics though. Take it serious because one of us could be in a plane tomorrow and such a thing happen, you know. And so we all got to just put the pressure on the government to take the electricity at the airports very serious. When we're living Firestone used to supply Raw fee. I don't know what happened this time. They used to supply Raw fee with electricity. We had a whole dam. The dam is still there. The dam in Firestone, it's hydro, 24/7, 365 days of running. That place always electrified. So I don't know why it's happening now, but we take it serious. And also, I know there's a news going around about Madam Guar, like April Fool. I just got told that April Fool, so she's in the race. She's not anything else now.
I saw that too. I forgot. It's already April 1st in Liberia.
April Fool. And guys, just keep on. On Wednesday, we have as our guest Ambassador Christopher Hayes Onandaga, Presidential Envoy on Tourism, Office of the President, Minister of State, Republic of Liberia. He's a business executive entrepreneur. He'll be our guest on Wednesday. President Boyka's tourism ambassador. And then the Minister of Youth and Sports, he will confirm it maybe by tomorrow when he will be appearing this week. So, guys, apparently, closing argument now is we're getting the
Tomalin, is it the guy who made a controversial statement about snow?
Yeah. He'll be our guest on Wednesday. So hopefully, also somebody, if that person agrees to appear, there will be a breaking thing for closing argument. Somebody else will be appearing on closing argument. But I already communicated with the person, and the person said they will get back to me. Hopefully, we're here tonight, and I know that will be a show to come when that person appears. But we're working on it. But yeah, so we're looking forward to that, and perhaps even using to Nangwe. Perhaps if all works well too, he will make an appearance too. We're in contact today, so I'm looking forward to hearing from him too. But the show is open to everybody. This platform is not for no party. It's not for no party. I repeat, it's for the Liberian people. You have, if you from the CDC, the ANC, the UP, anybody, you want to send your guest book to come and make their case that you're welcome. You know, come forward. Come here. We're not restricting you. And the panelists here too, they are free to flow. We don't censor anybody, their views. You express yourself. You know, that's it. You know, we don't want to restrict you here at all. So but again, I would say the issue of the fire, the issue about the darkness is very, very alarming. And lastly, somebody today called me from Capitol Hill. They said the president car that he bought for the president. So somebody took it and sent a whole video to a bipartisan group of legislators on Capitol Hill. And I said, oh, Liberian people, the technology does not care. They took it and sent it to a bipartisan group of lawmakers on Capitol Hill. And they said the expression where they were like, wow. So I don't know, but perhaps they did. The Minister of Foreign Affairs or in our top official come to Washington, D.C., they will confirm it. They will show them and say, well, what is this, you know? How can you talk about the economy? You are the 8th world country in the world, but I'm not saying the president should be protected, but the amount of money spent on that car, we should nobody should defend it. Shouldn't defend it. Okay? The car that President Salif youth president, we are using that same car. Then it's story going that he refused to give the car. That's not true. I don't believe that. That's true. And there's no way the president would take his car and take his car that don't belong to him. But if anything, you want to get a better car for the president of Liberia, because future president will use that car. Try to get something very, very cheaper, man. I want to ask a question. Ask the NSA people, what's the threat level to the president of Liberia that you're ordering a bulletproof car? You know, Myean, around put that video, let it post you to show you the car they're talking about. So, yeah, man. I hope Myean do it.
I think Tomalin will also start a show.
No, we'll finish it right now. I have the Myean show that.
The bomb detector car It has
Yeah.
a hash. It has a hash. You can parachute when everything goes well.
They're gonna get it for when the threat level is high. You see, if making it poor, you got intelligence that you may attempt on the president's life or somebody trying to get to the president. Then but that kind of car, to be frank, you know, as I end every day, this guy in Burkina Faso. I've come to admire the young man. I heard him talking the other day. He said, people say I would die like Sankara. I said, let me die like Sankara. If doing goof my people, I mean, Sankara, let me die. I mean, he's been so modest. The guy is, he proven to African leaders that you don't have to. The money, the country, the wealth that we have as a continent. You know, yeah, you know.
You can't find Liberia.
People take advantage of the country, and it's just sad that. Yes, sir.
Somebody said something about the religious people. I think somebody want to say something real quick. 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, General. Let me say good evening to all of you guys in the studio, including my dear sister Sarah. You know, I heard you guys beating on Bishop Reeves or Reverend Reeves for the Council of Churches. But listen, I'm a Muslim, okay? And I don't think Reverend Reeves and the Council of Churches should be the only group of people that need to be beat on over there. Ali Krai is a deceptive guy. Yes, the street remark of popular Liberia is very deceptive. Ali Krai was one of those very vocal during the George Weah tenure.
Yeah.
Recall, guys, there was a visit that President Weah made at the Benson Street Mosque. And the people there, they just organized that program. I think they had his banner right on the mosque. Ali Krai was very vocal, highly critical of that. He went public on it. And today, he's benefiting from his so-called advocacy at the time by being a board member, I think, of the National Port Authority. So when you're beating on your own, I have to beat on mine. He's a very sensitive guy. And I need to bring that to light. That's why I just wanted to interject that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, again, like I said, that boy in Burkina Faso, he's my other man I watch every day. If we can, it shows you that we can be a better country. The kind of money we got in that country, if we just cut down waste, fraud, and abuse, a lot can happen for the country. That's why the 2029 election, I'm not thinking, anybody tell me about they want to be president now, I would, that person would make flower because I'm looking for somebody who will really want to take Liberia to the next level, transform the country. But right now, I'm not looking at my guy, my guy in space, he's coming. But God, thanks a lot. I appreciate every one of you. Sarah, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Sarah is off. She take her time. Her day almost should be enjoying her day off, but she come forward. I appreciate you a whole lot for that, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming. And Mr. Nyenwolo, I salute you again. I salute you. And Mr. Gamer, I don't know what the words, but I say thank you. We're doing it for Liberia. Thank you so much.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yep. See you guys tomorrow.